In response to Jamel Hill's claim that the WNBA's Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's straight and white, Americans everywhere are vowing to boycott the WNBA by not watching a single game until that is sorted out. With resident Brad Johnson stating, "Until I can be assured that there isn't the slightest hint of racism associated with the league, its viewers, the sponsors, uniform manufacturers, and extended family of all WNBA employees, it definitely won't be on my TV."
At this point, a bystander pointed out that it's actually less common for white people to have extreme popularity in basketball, to which Brad interrupted by saying, "Nope, I've made up my mind. This Jamel broad is speaking truth to power, and to be honest, I would appreciate if they stopped the insane amount of inorganic press coverage on every sports website during NBA broadcasts and fantasy sports sites too. That is, of course, until Jamel says the league is completely racism-free."
California resident Tyrone White stated, "I've honestly been meaning to catch a game at some point in the last couple decades, but I knew something in my body was telling me don't bother. Now I know what that was. Also, the other day someone put the WNBA game on the main TV in the bar I was at during the NBA Western Conference Finals, and it really pissed me off. Do you guys think that'll happen less now that they know about the racism? Also, if not, is it possible for me to give you the address of that bar and maybe you can let them know?"
Finally, Indian IT specialist Harpreet Singh chimed in on the WNBA boycott by asking, "Wait, she's straight? I thought they were all lesies. Isn't that their thing? Interesting. Either way, I support the boycott and won't be watching."
The boys.
It's the Boyscast.
The lads.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for Boyscast.
The bros.
It's the Boyscast.
The homies.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Experience the Boyscast.
The boys. Cast.
The Boys Cast is here with your boy R Murder and D Penis in the place to be.
R-Murder?
I've been R Murder. Everyone knows I've been R Murder. People have been calling me that, and everyone's been referring to you as D Penis behind your back. That was a slip up.
News to me.
That was a slip up that I said it in person. Usually I keep that to myself.
messed
Now,
up.
tiny microplastic shards found in human testicles. Now, I know that a lot of people...
This must be concerning to you because there's all sorts of stuff floating around in yours.
Microplastics,
Yeah.
that's what they found in yours, pal. They found They found...
Right? They found a bumper.
They found a full... It's a large ball, ladies and gentlemen. It's a large bar. They actually found multiple water bottles. They found a G.I. Joe action figure. They found a plastic, like a grocery bag, just a plastic grocery bag in mine.
floating around in there.
Oh, the guy was pulling it out like he was a magician, taking out the sleeves.
Yeah.
Just
Keeps
never
going.
stopped.
Is this thing on a roll or something? What's
But apparently, I was like looking into it, and it was the whole gist of it is the plastics are in everything. You can't get away
you
from
can't
it.
get away
Oh,
from it.
it's
I mean,
everywhere, pal.
all these waters we're drinking?
It's in the waters, but it's also in the water.
It's in the water too. Yeah,
It's in your pans. It's in the packaging of the food you buy.
I specifically,
and then it's in the stuff you put in the food after you switch it over.
Yeah, my mom was actually very like for long time she never used plastic like spatulas and stuff, because if you ever go to someone's house and they have plastic spatulas,
They're all burned.
They're all melted down. You're like,
Mine are
what,
melted
you're like, what happened to a quarter of this thing? And you're like,
You ate it.
Yeah. Yeah, you ate it.
Well, it is very, yeah. So I guess the hog thing, that sort of, that's why when they're like sperm counts are low and all that sort of stuff, it's so hard to figure out where it's coming from.
Sure. It might be multiple factors. It's not necessarily a single factor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's actually, to be honest, I don't know if Marek Health was a sponsor this week. I think it is, but I did my blood work or whatever, and I found out that
plastic in the balls.
Well, that's what the main thing the guy said. He goes, "You're 90% plastic," and I go, "Where's the plastic?" He goes, "Only your balls." You're 90% ball and 10% man.
All ball.
It's mostly ball, so I'm full of ball.
Full of ball.
And then the balls are full of plastic, so I'm a bionic man, which is 90% plastic.
Okay.
But I found out that stress was the main driver of everything, where it's like, he's like, your stress is f***ing up this, is f***ing up your sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but you're trying to pinpoint where it's all coming from.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's what it is with the plastics. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at all angles.
I mean, that's great if you can just kind of figure out this one thing and then it has a impact on all the other
That's
things.
true, but they're all, it's like, it's a lot of it's circular. You know, you can't sleep because you're stressed. You're stressed because you can sleep.
I'm stressed, Jerry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It all sort of boils together.
Yeah.
The one thing I was sort of thinking, though, because I told you I was doing Wim Hof, and there's a lot of things like that I was figuring out where I was like, this is a de-stressing de-stressing thing. And they're like, it's actually not really.
Wim Hof is not a de-stressor?
Not really, because you're like holding your breath. Like a lot of the things I was doing are actually like a lot of the things I was doing to be like, oh, this will be like a de-stressing. It's actually not. So it's like there's zero parts of the things in my life I was doing that are de-stressing. Even like working out, it's not really de-stressing.
Are you going to get one of
those
those sand things? Like the sand where you just rake the sand?
Yeah, I think I have to do some shit like that.
Start raking the sand.
I've been sort of walking around like an old guy a bit,
Yeah.
trying to...
Backwards.
Yeah.
Backwards on the track.
Yeah, well, the reason it was making me laugh though is because so I was trying to do the meditation things, and I was looking at on YouTube just like 10-minute ones to try to sleep or whatever, and all of them would start, and I'd be like, okay, I'd be like, take a breath, this and that, and then all 4 minutes in, it was just like the gayest shit you've ever heard, and I would burst out laughing, and I'd be like, it would make me. It honestly was making it worse.
You need like bro meditations.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There needs to be I'm sure there's better ones out there, but there needs to be a company of a guy, because this is like some homo whispering in your ear that you're brave.
Yeah, you need some dude being like, you're fucking sick. Just breathe in. You're
well, I need it to be about
you're
productivity. You're
you're
fucking legend.
You're
Dude,
sick.
That's how me okay sketch I was thinking about. Yeah, like just know you're a fucking legend, dude. Everyone thinks that. Like, don't worry about it, man.
That.
Just chill out.
And it doesn't matter if they didn't, but you're a legend.
Well, that's what this is. It's very it's all like stuff for losers. It felt like to me.
You try and do the
It
screen
was like,
time?
just because you didn't accomplish any of your goals today doesn't mean that you aren't special. Yeah. I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Shut up. Get out of my ear, you fucking dweeb. And the guy ones are worse, because the girl one's a little bit more tolerable because it's a girl saying that and you're like, okay, whatever. When it's a guy, it feels like you're like, you fucking, what do you want there, pal?
Yeah, why don't you just do like the listen?
If a guy did that in real
to
life,
the waves, kind of just one of those things where it's nobody's talking, you're just listening to some nature.
the problem is with those ones, I think you just sort of like
You
go
get off
back to
track.
you just go back to whatever you're doing. You need them keeping you on track.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was what I was thinking. I was like, they need more of a bro meditation, being like, you're the fucking dog.
Ledge. Do you
Not some
do you
fucking
try not to do
pussy.
the screen time before bed? That they say is a big one. If you just get no screens for a while. It's hard.
Thank you. A hot tip by Danny.
man.
That screens
Well, you're
aren't
trying
good
to-
for you.
well, I'm-
You think I don't know that?
Well, I'm saying you're trying to do stuff. I'm like, that seems
You
like
think I don't know that?
you can't just like put the phone on.
I run a fucking business on my phone, my friend.
I understand that.
We're out here.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'll tell you, all the stress thing, I think I said this to you, but all the stress stuff does feel like it's written by your girlfriend when you look it up. It's like, you should cuddle more, going on vacation's good. Like, all of it really. You're just like, who's
Buying a purse for your significant other.
this? Yeah, it's like when they say the fishing things and they're like, you want to have like a, worm and then you want it to be falling off and you're like, is this written by the fish? Like, that's what it, that's what it feels like. De-stressing like articles are written by your girl.
I mean, a lot of chicks are writing them. Yeah,
It is, and they're just like,
people.
what you want to do is, make cooking. It would be like a good
Sure,
thing.
yeah,
That's de-stressing. You want to take your girlfriend on vacation, like probably 6-7 times a year. That's really good for the stresses.
Fix the toilet.
Fix the
It's like, how, this is oddly specific because our toilet's broken.
Yeah, they're all so specific. But you know what? I was. So last week we sort of talked about how a lot of activities that dudes do, like when we were talking about the gaming thing, like how a lot of things dudes do, then girls sort of get involved.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to someone that they were saying that a lot of activities, you have to pick activities with guys that are inherently really unappealing to women.
Sure.
And then, so I kind of thought it would be good to ask people in the comments, like, what's the best one? And I came up with a really good one that dudes do because inherently girls don't like it, which is ice fishing.
Ice fishing, that's a good one. Yeah. Although I want to say like
Girls they go, this is it. You just sort of sit here and you don't even catch any fish and it's
just
freezing
get
cold.
drunk.
Well, no, you don't get drunk when the girl's there. Yeah, that's what, like when the girl's there, I just be like, yeah, we just sit here and you just look at the hole and then you go, no talking, you're going to scare away the fish. And then eventually they're like, yeah, they'll come once, but it's like, I'm not going to keep coming to this.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, so you need to pick activities like that. And so what are the best ones? I don't know, can you think of any? Like, what's the best ones?
the ice fishing. I had my girlfriend who she lived in North Bay, Ontario, and like that's like big ice fishing, and I think like the chicks would do it there.
Well, that's not gonna. This one's not gonna work on the really country chicks.
Yeah, the country chicks are
Country bubkin chicks. You'll
do
see
all
their
that stuff.
TikTok channels where they're just like wrestling, animals and stuff like that.
golf. Golf's a decent one.
Golf does seem boring.
Because golf
to
is
chicks.
so, one, it seems boring. Two, it's like your girl's not just going to pick up golf clubs and be able to golf. Like she actually has to put some time into being able to like actually even do it. You know, otherwise she can't even like hit the ball.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
golf's a good one. If you can just get past that kind of like initial like curve, their learning curve, golf.
That is probably one that everyone solved.
Yeah. Although chicks hate it because you're like you're gone for 6 hours. Like
Well, ice fishing, you're gone for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. That's like the hell when I see someone and they're like, yeah, I'm going golfing with the wife. And I'm like, that sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking blows.
Well, we talked about the WNBA drama, and it was just like, it's funny. That Jamel Hill girl is something else,
She's
man.
mental.
I actually didn't put it together when we were, I'm stupid, but there was a lot of articles about Jamel Hill being like a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched her, like she was the person that was nuts on, what's his name's podcast, the football player that Cat Williams was on.
Oh, on Shannon Sharp.
She went on Shannon Sharp and she was like a nutcase there, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then I knew there was like this girl on The View that was a nut, and I just thought it was 3 separate nuts.
Oh, it's the same nut.
I actually, when I was looking at this, I sort of put it together because they were
I didn't realize she's on The View now because I thought she got fired from ESPN.
Okay, let me just double check that. Maybe
It might be her. It might legitimately be her. I don't know.
Oh, fuck, my thing's still connected. You look it up. I'm going to have to disconnect my phone here. I think so. Anyways, I thought that it was 3 different nuts being nutty, and it turns out, okay, we can't do these both at once, but
Yeah, is she on the...
just type in Jamel Hill View.
Yeah, I did. I don't think she's on The View.
So it is a
Oh, she
separate-
calls out Jamel Hill calls out The View for misrepresenting her Caitlin Clark opinion.
So who's the nut on The View then?
I mean, they're rotating. They always have new nuts. That's the thing.
Well, they have one real big nut. She was the nut arguing with Coleman Hughes.
Oh no, that was Sonny Hostin. They
Okay.
kind of look the same.
Well, she. Danny's going to get called up by Jamel Hill and Sonny Hostin.
Sorry.
Okay, so it's not 2 of the 3 nuts were the same nut.
2 of the 3 nuts. But she was like on ESPN, and she was like, she is nuts. She is consistently some of the worst sports takes on the internet.
She's a sports chick.
She's sports. She used to be on ESPN.
Right. That's what I thought. And then I thought the ESPN girl was also on The View now. But it was 2. Okay, so,
No.
so there's 2 separate nuts. I thought it was 3 separate nuts.
3 separate nuts. Or 1 nut, 3 spots.
Okay, so anyways, but Jamel Hill, it was just so obviously her take was funny because like the idea that like it's so much easier to be white in the WNBA is like crazy, and it was like yes, Angela Reese was like a huge draw, and then
Yeah, I mean,
there was a lot of,
And then the other...
and then you look at NBA and you go,
pretty big drop off of names, but
well,
I mean, it is funny because
the reason I brought this up is because you've been talking about it. I brought this up because you had a lot of takes on the WNBA.
Well, yeah, it is funny that Angel Reese or whatever her name is, she's become less popular since she left college, which is so bizarre. That like the way it's set up is like they get like Caitlin Clark more so because she gets like obviously all
That
the
is
press
true.
and she's the face, but like Angela Reese was huge. And then now they're like, she's just a rookie on whatever fucking team she plays for. I don't know. I mean, I know Brittany Griner, but
Well, you were
that's
saying the
obviously-
pregnancy thing.
Yeah, the pregnancy
You've
thing.
been going
yeah.
off about it.
Well, it's just hilarious that they literally treat.
You were saying that was off camera. You don't want people to know that you've been saying that about the WNBA.
No. Dude, I've been one of the early people being like, WNBA sucks.
Well, yeah, they talk about they
They don't even play with the same size ball.
But when they have pregnancies, they call it
Just an
injury.
They just put you on the injury report.
And it's 2 years sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes people. Well, if you think about it, like how pregnant can you play in the WNBA?
What do you think?
It's like a month, maybe.
Yeah, probably not much.
I mean, I imagine once you're pregnant.
I guess a lot of them don't get pregnant because they're lesbos usually, right?
Yeah, but then I think it's not common. Pregnancies are not super
Unless
common.
it's in vitro.
Yeah, or you're non-player.
Or
Like,
they
if
took
you're a chick, it's like the chick who's not playing gets pregnant,
Uh-huh.
right? And usually you're the man of the family, anyways, because you're the player in the WNBA.
Do you think that any of the WNBA people got playing because they took a gig like growing someone else's baby because it made them more money?
made them more
It was like a
money.
side hustle for them.
It might. I don't know what the minimum salary in the WNBA is, but I bet it's fucking low.
Well, Steven Jackson, I was like loving there's a lot of these sort of like online dramas that have been sort of wild right now but this one was really funny because Steven Jackson basically
You know him from the Malice at the Palace fame.
Woo! But he seems like kind of like a tough guy you don't want to fuck
Yeah,
with.
he's George Floyd's cousin or whatever. He's related.
What?
Yeah, he's related to George Floyd. One of the George Floyd stuff happened. He's like he's like a George Floyd family friend or something. So he was all like in the news for that, and he was all like the face when the family was doing stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, basically, his ex-wife, he was going to get married, and then she wouldn't sign the
She just
prenup.
refused. Yeah, she was just she kept dicking around. She's like, I'll get to it. I'm like busy planning the wedding, and then like the day of the wedding, and she's like, I haven't signed it yet, and he's just like, wedding's off.
Yeah, and he basically was during the day, wedding was on, all his boys were there being like, why are you signing the wedding? Like, what, did she sign it yet? And then he was like, no, she won't sign it. And then they go, then why the fuck are we here?
Yeah.
And then the boys just all went to like a fucking strip club with
Apparently
all the girls.
fucked some of her friends. That's
And then he's got a new wife now, and the new wife didn't sign a prenup.
sure.
But I guess you can spot him, right? There is
Also, this was when he was in the NBA, like making NBA money. Now he's out of it. Obviously, he's got tons of cash. But
Yeah.
like the cash flows coming in were like a way different thing. And, he also was like, maybe I have $100 million contract.
Yeah, we don't know what this is going to look like.
Whereas now he's just a podcaster.
Yeah.
His podcast does fine, but he'll never touch his.
Yeah, it's harder to take. I think even regardless of the prenup, it's harder to take all your money that you had before you got married.
Yeah, for sure.
It's more about when you make it, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, if you get married at the end of the line, it's a little safer business, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But then there was the other one. There was this dude. This woman kind of went viral recently because she posted this video of her like crying, and she.
Oh, this has been a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster.
I mean, crazy chicks are the posting the TikToks of you crying is insane. There's so many of them too. Like that's his own like genre of content. It's just a chick weeping about something.
Oh yeah.
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 It's crazy because there's so many of them probably who are like post them and then they get 10 likes and it just puts them in an even bigger tailspin because you think you're like, oh, I'm gonna get all this sympathy.
You never really talk about the girls that got 9 likes on their crying videos.
We don't know about them. We haven't seen them. I don't even know how you search for them.
Yeah,
Girl
dude,
crying?
you're like, oh, I'm having a bad day, and you post like I mean, that's not actually. We're kind of wrong on this because we're in comedy and we know people that have done that.
Yes.
I've seen someone last year, a dude, post like a crying video being like, something about his parents and this and that.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Did they die in a car accident?
400 likes or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably views under 8,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
probably even less, maybe 4,000 views, you know what I mean? And he's just like bawling his eyes out and you're just like, what are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, for what, I guess.
I always put the like extreme when people do that stuff to get famous, I always put that in the exact same category as when people go like full like activism, men is bad, and do all that stuff. It's the exact same category of like trying to get popular off the thing, and both of them are equally as embarrassing when it doesn't work.
I mean, when you're a comedian, man, and you're doing crying videos.
I know.
Like, it's one thing if you're like, I'm trying to be a journalist or an author.
But
and you're
the problem is you see someone do a crying video and it worked, and you're like, just the same way that every comedian right now is trying to put together their baby reindeer story of being stalked.
Yep.
And that's probably like...
Or going trans.
Oh my God. Right. So there's 1 million people right now out there being like, fuck, I can cry.
I can cry.
I can fucking cry.
Just because you can doesn't mean
Dude,
you should.
fuck, I'm not going to get too specific, but I know a guy that posted a video where he cried and he goes, and I don't usually cry on camera, but he said that before he cried. So it was like, so you knew you were going to cry. Yeah. It was like a slip up where he goes, he was crying in the video, but he started the video and he goes, I normally never cry on camera. And then he started crying.
See, the only way to end...
like, you weren't crying yet, though.
See, the only way to end that is you cry and you're like... and scene. And then you get one of those and you go, that's my reel.
That's
my acting reel.
That's how good I am at acting.
That's how good I am at acting. So you totally bought that shit.
So what happened was this woman did her crying video being like, it's my birthday. This was being a single mother's like, I have to make my own cake. Yeah. Which to some degree, it's like, not only once you're a parent, but you're like, especially over 30, it's like, lady, it's like your birthday. Who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. Danny will do his birthday, do the Boyscast, not mention it.
Yeah.
That's maybe the other side of the spectrum.
So are you. What are you talking about? You're the same thing.
I mention it a little more than you do. Yeah. You're like, you specifically avoid it. So then the next day you can be like, yeah, and you didn't mention anything. It's a bad friend.
No. We're like, oh, weird. It was something happened yesterday.
You messaged me at 12:01.
Yeah, 12:01. I go, weird.
Danny comes to the Boyscast. He doesn't post on it, but doesn't mention. And then at 12:01, we get a message to the group chat that says you're all dead to me.
I just come to do the episode. I'm just not talking. I'm just fucking freezing you out. Oh, that is weird.
Oh, is that weird? No. Did you read the articles? I guess I forgot.
You know what we're talking about this week? No. No. I don't know what we're talking about this week. There was something important that happened this week for me.
Oh, what day is it today? Okay, this is interesting. So,
weird.
Yeah, she's a bit past the point of that, but she does her big video. Crying on camera, and then being like, and my husband's a piece of shit who left me, and that's why I'm alone. And the husband basically,
he like doesn't see the kids. He's like out fucking just smashing chicks.
Gone, yeah.
All the stuff too, like everything.
It's also funny, like whenever something like this happens, the amount that the internet finds out it's kind of like when we see one of those videos where a guy does, he's like the hero of a thing, and then the next day they find his tweet, and then they find the person's tweet who tweeted about him, and it's crazy.
The sleuths.
Well, because it's all women that are doing this, right? And they have a lot of practice sleuthing.
Yeah.
But the guy came out being like, yeah, that's not what happened. I actually have custody of the kids. This woman gets the kids like rarely because she's a psychopath who's like has a history of like fraud, and she's been in and out of jail.
Yeah, $1 million check fraud or something.
All this shit. So and she basically she has the kids once a month, and she got the kids on her birthday, and then acted like
this is a real he said she said.
And then she comes being like, this dude's a Scientologist, and the Scientologist cult has been doing all this stuff to ruin me. And on top of that, he has a restraining order against multiple girls, and it was just like, wow, this one crying video, you both fucked both your lives up.
I was gonna say you two really deserve each other. That's for sure. Hopefully you guys can fucking figure out your differences because you're both pieces of shit.
Really is, yeah. So, okay, so just to wrap up the WNBA thing, there was that, and then there was also another one, not from Jamel Hill, that says romance is white supremacy, so a little bit for the boys.
Oh, romance is white supremacy. Okay.
Romance promotes white supremacy, according to Black Studies professor Sabrina Strings, who said she has endured bad relationships. It's basically some girl that just like can't find a dude. It's like it's white supremacy's fault.
Are you dating white guys?
Is white supremacy in the room with us right now?
I wonder though if she's dating white guys.
No, she thinks that. I think. I mean, get ready for this word salad
sure,
of why.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
if your ears are fucking ready, you open them up.
I'm ready to eat.
Get the cum out of those ears.
I'm ready to eat. Let's hear it.
Find a nickel for every time I heard that. Strings cover questions about how colonization and slavery conspired to prevent black women from being considered viable. So she thinks because she's like a black woman, people don't want to date her because of white supremacy.
Okay.
And she's saying black guys don't want to date her because of white supremacy.
Gotcha.
Black guys are saying because she doesn't have a badonkadonk is what they said.
A dumper. Big old dump
they
truck
said
back
she
there.
doesn't have a dumper. How changes civil rights. Black men have distanced themselves, and black and insufficiently white women are aligning themselves with white men in order to pursue a rise in personal status, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of this sort of...
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I actually saw a tweet from somebody.
She's saying that's why black guys won't take her out for nice dinners and expensive trips because of white supremacy.
Because of white supremacy. I mean, that's why I won't do it. So
that's why I don't cuddle. That's why I don't do none of that shit.
None of that shit. We don't want to promote white supremacy.
Are you kidding me?
No, I saw actually a tweet. I should have sent it to you actually, but it was this just like black woman, I believe. And then it was like her family. It was like this, like one of those like video family posts where like the family keeps getting larger as all the generations like join the photo, like join a group photo. So then the first group is all the older ones. They're all black. And then it starts getting whiter and whiter.
I saw that
Did
photo,
you see that?
yeah.
And then, or whatever.
Well, people are losing their minds.
And then but it was all black women being like, this would make me sick if this was my family and all this stuff. And like, but they were really mad about it.
Well, they hate interracial dating.
They hate that shit. Yeah. They're like literally the fucking opposite side of the coin. You know, they're like, yeah, races shouldn't mix, like all that stuff.
As a unit, they kind of feel like that.
Yeah, kind of. And like, but like women were like really like, yeah, this would make me sick if this is the family I had to look at.
I'll tell you what my advice to if you're like a black woman that's having that issue, my advice is go to DC, because I'm telling you, it's all black women, white guys.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, at my show, it was that.
Well, they don't like that though.
Well, obviously, if you
They want to go to Atlanta.
well, that's white supremacy speaking.
They got to go. They want to go to Atlanta, and they should stay. No.
But well, obviously, the answer is like, yeah, maybe open your boundaries a little bit, so it's not just you're like, oh, I can only date black guys.
Sure. Well, but that's what I'm saying. They don't
believe in race mixing. They've been listening to too much Umar Johnson.
Dr. Umar.
Listening to a little too much Dr. Umar. Yeah. Dr. Umar it is funny the extent to which Dr. Umar is like legitimately just like reciting the KKK doctrine.
Yeah, he just does the opposite side of it.
Well, he's the woke racist video.
Yeah,
like,
essentially. Yeah, and he still owes them a school for what I understand.
What happened?
He was supposed to start a school. He raised all this money to open a school. And
what was that? It was like black school or something?
No, it's a white school, Ryan.
No, but like teaching them how to be more black?
Yeah, like super black school or whatever. And then he was supposed to open it.
How many times is that professor going to say, my brother?
My brother.
There's so much my brother's there.
Yeah, but he never did.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what the update on it, but last I checked, he raised like, I think $250,000 or $500,000 to open his own
It would be
school.
fucking hilarious if they did the black school and the white students did a sit-in because they weren't allowed at the black school. I'm just like fucking did the exact same
Got
thing.
some nerve on them.
This summer is all about health, which is why I'm telling you about Marek Health. So for me, I just did this, and one of my things this summer, I'm trying to get my health in order and figuring out all the specific things that are actually wrong and solving it. Danny just did this.
Yeah, I did it, and it's super easy. Like literally, you sign up, then they schedule you for a blood draw. You get your blood drawn. There's 84 different biomarkers that it checks. There's all these tests, and then they send them in. You have a consultation, 45 minutes. I had my consultation with Ian, and you just go over your full lab work, and then they basically say, this is what you're deficient. This is what you have, are good levels, and then they just make recommendations for you. They have like a compound pharmacy, so they can actually make the stuff that they give you themselves.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then they get you all set up, and it's great.
No, I actually got 3 different things that I'm on right now that's solving, and a lot of my problems were like a circular problem. So I'm actually in the process of solving a lot of it, and then you go in again, and then you can see what's actually helping.
Then you'll get your blood drawn, whatever later, and then you can test it. But the main thing is if you don't do it, like if you don't get your blood work, you really don't know what's going on. Like you need to know what's going on.
You know what else I didn't even think of when I did do my blood work? I was like, I should have done this 10 years ago, even though I didn't need it, because then I have something to compare it to.
Exactly.
So the earlier you do it, then you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then like 10 years from now, you
can
gotta
see
start
how you're
clocking it, even if you don't go that often.
Exactly, just to see where you're at. And then again, if you don't test it, you'll have just no idea. You're just going totally blind.
So Marek Health represents paradigm shift in how we approach medicine, empowering those who want the most out of their healthcare and wish for maximum potential. They offer cutting-edge diagnostic labs, concierge health coaching, expert clinical oversight, and we support clients in achieving their health and fitness goals by leveraging data-driven lifestyle and nutrition recommendations, not just about the symptoms, along with supplement and prescription treatment options. So the clinical team utilizes the most recent cutting-edge literature and creates the most informed, personalized, evidence-based, impactful protocols on clients possible. So if you want to go right now, you can go over and you get the optimization package, add that to your cart, and going to the checkout, add the coupon code for savings. The optimization package includes the same elaborate panel me and Danny both got, and those test results. The Marek Health clinical team optimizes a personal protocol to get the exact same panel and medical oversight. So you want to click the link in the video description, go to marekhealth.com/boyscast, and you can use the code boyscast to save 10%. And this is the summer of health, so recommend you do it right now with Marek Health. Fellas, it is the summer, like I said, and you want to get incredible deals on premium cuts from Butcherbox. And deals so good are hard to come by at the grocery store, and they also take the guesswork out of what meats you want. Whether you're having a barbecue, whether you're just having some people over, whether you got a patio, whether you got a balcony, that you got your barbecue out there, you're going to want meat this summer. Butcherbox is the best way to get it. Peace of mind. Easily find high-quality meat and seafood you can trust. 100% 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised, crate-free, wild-caught seafood, delivered right to your doorstep, free shipping as always, variety of high-quality cuts and an amazing value, exclusive membership deals. They got, also, if you go to the site, they got recipe inspiration, guides, tips, hacks. If you want less trips to the grocery store, if you want to impress people, me personally, we're talking steak, we're talking chicken,
Lobster.
I know Danny's always been a big seafood guy.
I like the seafood.
You've
and
been
I-
on that lobster.
I see that food, I eat that food.
Woo! You get the steaks. You literally get steaks for the whole family, steaks for the
it's
squad. Yeah, they're not messing around. Best cuts, less trips to the grocery store, curated tips and recipes. So what you want to do is you head over to sign up for Butcherbox today by going to butcherbox.com/boyscast and use the code boyscast at checkout and enjoy your choice of bone-in chicken thighs, top sirloins, or salmon in every box for the entire year. Plus $20 off. Again, that is butcherbox.com/theboyscast. Use the code boyscast and be the hit this summer. Well, anyways, yeah, that was all that. But the main news, me and Johnny went to the Trump rally.
Oh, yeah.
So,
By the way, sorry if the verdict comes out before this comes out.
I know the verdict might come out. We're on the edge of our seats, so we can't really do it. We're hoping it's something
Hopefully
like...
it takes them through the weekend.
I know. Wasn't that your big joke a few years ago? There was a hung jury. The guy shit his pants. There was a hung jury.
No.
You don't remember this clip?
That I did? Hung?
Basically, some guy shit his pants, and you go talk about a hung jury, and I go, what does that mean? And you go, it didn't really make sense. You don't remember this?
I don't remember it.
Call that a hung jury. The guy shit his pants. It was the guy that shit his pants in court.
Oh, in court? I don't remember.
And you said, that's a hung jury. And I go, how? And you go, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
Sounds like a JJ joke.
It was a JJ joke. But, so we might be missing that. But it was interesting. It was like, because there's tons of press surrounding this, because the whole thing is he went to like the Bronx, but it wasn't even, the
he had
gentrified
to.
area of the Bronx. It was like kind of the hood,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But he had to go to the Bronx because he has his trial, so he can't really travel that much. He went to DC on the weekend. But
Well, that's a part what I was saying, because a lot of people were saying, oh, he's doing this rally in the Bronx, and it was like, yeah, because he has to be in New York, so he's going to do the Bronx, he's doing a New Jersey rally. It's because he has to be around
He has to be
here.
around. Yeah, exactly. He legally just can't be. Which, honestly, they're kind of doing him a favor. He doesn't have to do all these rallies, but he gets all the benefit of doing them, essentially, because of his trial. Like, all the places he would have rallied.
Because there's so much publicity.
There's so much publicity, and then also,
Good
like,
point.
all the red states that he would have rallied in, people, like, understand that he's not there.
They already
why
like him
he's not
anyway,
there.
yeah.
They like him anyways. They maybe like him more now.
Well, it was a tailgate party,
Yeah.
100%. So the first thing is obviously it was way more multiracial, like whatever. It was all the different things, tons of all different races on each side, right? But there was basically, because I've seen a lot of lies, and you see how much the media lies whenever you're sort of close to any event.
Lying media.
Legitimately, dude, there was an article recently on CNN's viewership on their main shows, and it's like 60, 70,000. Like the Boyscast has more viewers than like CNN's main
Prime
shows.
time, I know.
Isn't that
Well,
fucking
the
crazy?
audience, man, have you seen the breakdown? Their audiences, Fox and CNN, are literally like their core audience is
95.
68 and up or something.
Of course.
Like, it's just old people. It's just like super old people.
Well, it's probably, and the people that isn't that is places that it's just on. Like when they
like
were
the airports, that shit that they
yeah,
have forever.
airports or gyms or whatever like that. That's like bringing down their total is like stuff where that's just not even a guy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But anyway,
I can't imagine anyone under 30 is just like cranking CNN.
They probably don't even have cable. Like, if you're under 30, what are the odds that you even have cable news to watch news?
Yeah, so when we're talking about Don Lemon's show not having that much of viewers, it might be an upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, not from COVID, but everybody was fucking locked inside and watching TV and stuff. So that was some.
Well, they get all their money because of their cable package. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a kind of like a scam through and through. But the interesting part was there were definitely like a lot of counter protesters, but really there was way more of like, six libs, standing there with signs, and then 10,000 reporters like filming.
Yeah, it was mostly just reporters.
Me included.
Yeah.
Like when we first went there, I was like, there's 45 people doing what I'm doing. Like we were the majority of in the like section where all the protesting was happening. Yeah. The majority it was one lib being like Trump's a piece of shit with 19 microphones in his face, right?
And then that's the story is like counter protesters at the Trump thing. And you're like, that's not the story.
There's a few more that showed up after, but the main part of the line, there was kind of like 5 or 6 people yelling how Trump sucks, and then a line of like thousands of people, and then they would come by and be like, fuck you libs, and they'd be like, well, fuck you, and then you kind of go in, right? But they were mostly people were mostly partying, right? Yeah, if you want to go to my other channel and watch Finding the Straightest Guy at the Trump rally. But the interesting part was, for starters, I would say that going to one of those rallies, whether you're Republican or Democrat, waiting in like 4-hour line to see someone talk is like, you're basically a grown man waiting in line like you're going to a Taylor Swift concert. Like, it was a long ass
Well, you got to go through
line.
Secret Service. I signed up for it, but then I ended up going to the Trey concert. But
Buddy, they got Secret Service. They have snipers everywhere. Like, it really was, if you were to cause a little too much hustle bustle once you got past this line, you're in trouble.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, the Secret Service, they'll
You got fucking guns pointed into the crowd.
Yeah, they're shooting first, ask some questions later.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, in New York, you probably think they're probably like they're a little more concerned about that stuff.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have like, and then there was what's crazier than I guess I can sort of see like you and your buddies being like, this is an event, you're having some beers. It's like still waiting in 4 hours. I'd probably be like, yeah, miss me with that. Even if it was like someone I really loved. I don't know.
I don't know who I'd want to see talk that badly.
I could wait in line for 4. I think I would have went and we'd be like, if we were talking like, yo, you want to go to that rally? That'd be kind of fun. And then we went, there was a 4-hour line. We'd be like, we're not doing that. Obviously.
That's crazy.
That's nuts, right? But crazier than that probably is being like a lib waiting in line for 4 hours to get mad.
Did they go in though?
A few of them, yeah. There was one lady with a swastika sign,
really,
saying that Trump's a Nazi.
Right. Yeah,
and then she was like waiting. She was in the line, basically waited in line for 5 hours to sit there.
Just hate it. Yeah, it's important that I'm here, just so Trump knows that I think he's a Nazi.
Yeah, like you could have just like went to the thing if you wanted to protest, and then watched the speech after. You didn't really need to be there and soak it up.
No, because the point is everybody sees that you're protesting as they're going in, so at least.
Yeah, but once you're in, now you're just at a concert, so you're sort of just like squished up against a bunch of people standing there with your sign.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, woo! And you're just like, boo, I guess.
Or maybe their thing is they want to be like there was a swastika at the Trump rally, and they go, yeah, it was a person who hated him.
Oh, you think it was that? That's a good point.
Maybe that's the angle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the funniest part for me, probably, of the whole thing, and probably Johnny would agree with, there's a bunch of these people. There was a sort of a fight that broke up at one point, right? And it was this like fat Trump dude and like and a fat black Biden guy. There was like 2 like sumo wrestling, basically,
really?
Right? Yeah, real big boys. And then they were sort of screaming at each other. And then the Trump people were like, so they were like, Trump, fuck you. I can't remember the exact chant, but something about Trump, fuck you, fuck Trump, right?
Yeah.
And then the people goes, yeah, well, fuck Biden too. And they go, we don't like him either. Then he goes, oh.
All right.
A couple fake.
Any impersonators there?
Every time the fake Trump showed up, it threw the whole place for a whirl. Legit, and us too, because a fake Trump would show up and the whole place would go, oh, and then every crowd.
I thought he was just walking through.
No one knew what was going on.
So
and then you'd show up and it would just be a guy in a fake Trump, and everyone would go, they foiled us again. I saw two Republican guys. They come by and he goes, fucking Trump. And the other guy goes, Trump. And they just high five. 2 guys that didn't know each other just high fiving Trump so hard. But there was this one guy that was yelling at, there was like a black Biden guy that was like one of the protesters there, and then like a frat boy Trump guy, and they were like yelling at each other. And my guy goes, fuck you, he's a fucking pussy. And he goes, cry harder. And he goes, why don't you go watch CNN? Why don't you go watch Don Lemon? Oh, wait, you can't.
Oh, no.
He goes, yeah, why don't you
I watch him on YouTube. So, there.
That good? Why don't you go home and watch Don Lemon? Oh, wait, you can't.
What a burn. What a burn.
The burns coming either way weren't great. Well, it was also funny because they kept saying that he was like a racist. A lot of the lib protesters were like, he's a racist white supremacist. And they're yelling this at like a bunch of black people. Like, and Cubans and whatever.
They're probably like, don't you know you're about to go see a racist white supremacist?
Like, you don't know. Like, the guy was going to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I didn't realize that the president was...
That's why kind of like the De Niro thing where Robert deWeirdo.
That was kind of an interesting thing that it was like the Biden... Like, he didn't just show up for himself. Like, Biden put him up to that. Like, that was like
I know. He's part of the thing.
That was like an official Biden press conference, essentially, to just trot Robert De Niro out there. And then all these people are like, your fucking movies suck. You're washed up. And he's like...
Trump tweeted that he's a weak man, like, blah, blah, all the things. But it was a fucking gay speech, dude.
Yeah, it was. But also...
He came across like a fucking dork.
For sure. It's just such a weird thing that you're like, Robert De Niro is doing a press conference outside of Donald Trump's trial.
Yeah.
You're like, why? And then it was just like, it's put on by the DNC. Like,
I think that was a bad idea.
It was an official DNC thing.
Because it really was one of those things where that kind of stuff worked a little better probably 8 years ago, but everyone's been watching the whole thing, heard all of the opinions, made up their mind. Anyone who's reasonable, their take on it isn't like Biden's the savior and Trump's like the devil. They're just like, most people probably have things they like or things they don't like, or they're just, their mind's made up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just like, yeah, I don't think Trump's the devil, but I don't really like how everyone gets riled up and it's the world's over and that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's their plan, being like, expect more of this if he gets elected. They're like, hey, see how you have to have Robert De Niro yelling at you? You want 4 more years of this shit?
4 more years of Bobby D?
That's their
plan.
One
of your favorite actors of all time spoiling his legacy for you and the movies he made, huh?
Do you see how much this wrecks people's brains? Is that what you want?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So maybe that was their plan?
I don't know.
Just being like, remember this era?
Crazy to think Trump I don't know if he'll go to jail right away if he gets convicted, or like if he has what happens.
I feel like we can't talk about that too much because we're gonna fucking anything we say is gonna be wrong potentially.
Well, I know, but just like next week, it might just be. I'm sure it'll be in a week from now. It'll probably be settled.
Yeah,
and then if he's innocent, then he's like just on to the next trial. Like, is that how that works?
I guess so.
The next thing.
Yeah, the De Niro thing really did strike me as like,
lame.
You watch it and you're just like, what? I took his quotes here. He goes, he wants to destroy New York. Like, you're like, that's anyone with a brain's just like, yeah, that's Trump's goal to just destroy New York.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to
destroy the world. I was like,
again, he already had the 4 years that you promised us he would do all of these things.
Well, they're saying it's going to be worse this time.
But it wasn't. What do you mean? But you said all these things last time.
If you reelect him, he's never going to leave office. He's going to make himself a tyrant for life. And it's like, no one really believes it. So it's just it's an old man yelling at the clouds is what it feels like.
Nobody actually thinks he's going to stay for life. He's also, 77 right now?
The fact with De Niro that's so lame is his fake tough guy persona.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a drama kid.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're a drama kid who just like happened to be these tough guys.
Yeah, it's like if me and you just like one day started being like, and take fucking, you want to come to the Boyscast, you're gonna have fucking physical problems. Like it was like, hey, we're not those guys.
No.
And De Niro, if his life if he wasn't in mob movies, he could easily be like prancing around on fucking Broadway right now.
Yeah. I mean, he could have just been the Meet the Fockers guy, minus like.
Well, he would Meet the Fockers wouldn't even happen if it wasn't those. Yeah,
Goodfellas and all that stuff.
I know.
So.
Also, well, the last, there's two different ways I could go, but I think we should mention the Trump at the Libertarian Convention because there's so much fucking libertarian drama. Yeah, we were gonna. You saying you were gonna go?
We should have gone.
I don't know. I had enough stuff to do.
I know, but it just looked like a fucking.
But Dave Smith is like the center of that whole thing.
Yeah,
I told you that. I always think that's cool when it was like kind of like. Our buddies are sort of like the center of the whole like American politics.
Yeah, American political party.
It's kind of like,
I mean, they're polling under 1%.
Yeah, but they're
as a party.
But they're influential. I think that's the whole thing. That like Dave and all those guys, they have these like huge audiences, so they're very influential.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Trump went there to. Trump was like getting heckled and stuff. It was crazy. Like he was legitimately like if you ever seen like we've obviously seen it a million times where a comedian's just like fighting an audience at like a bar show. That's like the vibe of his talk is like the originally all the MAGA people, because there were tons of MAGA people who showed up just to see Trump, like they weren't libertarians, and then they all sat like in the front rows because I think they got there first, so they sat up front, and then the libertarians were like, no, you have to leave, like you not leave the thing, but the libertarians want to sit up front so that we can basically boo him.
It's like when you're filming, you want to put hot people up front.
Kind of. Yeah, the hot libertarians up front.
It wasn't an option in this case, probably.
No, but anyways, but then apparently the MAGA people did go to move to the back, and then the libertarians went up front, and then they were booing. I like the Ross Ulbricht thing though; that was good. He said he would pardon him day one.
That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, whether he actually does that or not.
Yeah, he kind of you negged them a little bit because he basically went up and he was like, "You guys can keep being pathetic if you want to."
Keep getting 3%. You go, they're not even getting that many percent, not even close.
He was basically like picking up a girl where you're just like, I mean, you can keep fucking these losers, or if you want a real man with a fucking nice piece, you can come my way.
Pretty much.
You're not ready for that though.
Yeah, you're not ready for that.
You couldn't handle me.
All you can handle is just losing and losing more.
If you keep losing, keep doing what you're doing. It's working for you. No, we're good, but I'll be over here if you're looking for it.
Yep.
But the interesting part was, I guess there's the two different types of libertarians. It's kind of like the Ron
Mises
Paul guys, which is Dave and all those guys.
Yeah.
And then there's the other guys, which they don't make as much sense. They kind of they pick the libertarian stuff they're for, but it's all like the wrong order, in my opinion. It's kind of like we want open borders before, but also we're not really focused too much on the socialism state. And then on top of that, they're kind of like, we want more, trans in kids. Like they sort of pick and choose like the gayest parts
for sure. I mean, I did
promoting, I guess.
In Colorado. I did their libertarian, their presidential debate where I saw all these guys debate, and some of them are like, no private land, like there's no such thing as, or there's no private borders or something so there's no borders in America. It's just private land, and then I guess if you are on
except we don't live in that world though. That's not the case.
But you're trying to get normal people to vote for you, and you're putting out these insane ideas that the average person is like, that's crazy. I would never vote for someone who's like open borders, but we'll make it all private. So then at least if you have land on the border, you can defend your land. You're like, I don't want to start an army.
Right.
Just because I happen to live near the fucking Mexico. I don't need a gun turret in my backyard. Now, some people are probably like, I would love a gun turret in my backyard where I could just shoot to kill. But normal people are like, I don't want that.
Those guys I probably like more.
Yeah.
The other guys, it feels like when you're like in Vancouver or whatever, and you're like, I probably think that drugs should be more legal. But it's like when you go to Vancouver and you go, everyone's getting free drugs and it's just heroin addicts on the street, and you go, probably the first place to start as a libertarian wouldn't be more drugs for these guys.
No.
You go just like from a logical perspective, that wouldn't be the first place I start.
But
you know what I mean?
Principle. They go like.
But that's not principles. It's picking and choosing, right? It's kind of like a media.
Exactly.
It's the media says like, hey, yes, we're not biased. We don't lie. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying you could be a media channel that doesn't lie, but it's like, yes, but you only cover this thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you choose what you cover. So there's always that. So it's like, if you're saying here's all libertarian principles, but you always pick the ones that should be last, it's still, anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, that guy won, but I don't get it. Do you get why he won?
Well,
I thought Dave and those guys sort of took back the thing or whatever.
No, well, I know he Mike Rechtenwald, who was I think he was close to the favorite, but he showed up, he was high on edibles during his speech. He was all he was fucked up, man, during his speech because he's a libertarian, so he was just getting blasted on edibles.
Someone was telling me they were partying with that guy.
I was partying with him in his hotel room.
I didn't want to rat you out.
No, I said, I don't know, whatever.
Well, I thought you would have said that if you weren't trying to.
I think I said it on the show.
Oh, no, you didn't. You told me in this video.
Anyways, no, we were partying at the dude. They're all they all like to have fun. They're libertarians, but that guy Chase Oliver who won, it was like when you watch them debate, you go like, this guy's the most polished.
He was just a better candidate.
He's just like if you look at who has the best chance of winning, I don't think
the other guy's smoking a cigarette during his speech.
And they're they're just not they don't have the polish of you would want of a politician. And I don't know if maybe they're that's not what's required necessarily, but in terms of you're trying to get people to, come over to your side, and you're trying to pick the best candidate. And I know lots of people disagreed. They don't think he was the best candidate, but I guess people
how'd he win then? That's what
people I spoke with. But then
am I just fucking not tapped in? Because to me it felt like Dave and those guys were sort of the predominant voice, and then they lost the election. So I was like, well, what happened? They just didn't have a good candidate, I guess.
Well, I think he came. Their candidate.
This is all cosplaying politics a little bit.
Yeah, again, they're not winning anything. And here's the thing: they it was Gary Johnson in 2016 I think 2016 or 2020.
That guy was a snooze fest.
But he got 4% of the vote, which was the highest
Pretty
they
high,
ever got.
actually.
But it's because everybody hated both the options. So then, because people hated both options so much, that's how the libertarians got but like they're polling under 1%.
But I guess the benefit is when you have like a second party or a third party or fourth party or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well they have to use us to like win the election.
Yeah, especially when it's narrow margins, and that's great when you have 2% or 3%. They are currently like one of the guys who was running. I can't remember which one, but he was like, "We're currently polling at 0%." Over 0, under 1% kind of thing. So, anyways, the guy Mike Rectenwald, he I think came in second, so it was close. But yeah, I don't know. But the Chase Oliver guy, he's like gay. He believes like totally fine for like to cut the kids' dicks off. Like he's very libertarian.
Tweeting all this stuff.
Yeah, like all that shit. But he's like a very eloquent speaker, and he was definitely, when you watch the debate, you go, this is by far the best guy.
So anyways, enough of the libertarian thing. But speaking of Robert De Niro,
speaking of Bobby D,
AMC slaps Goodfellas with trigger warning for offensive content that includes cultural stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I agree.
Literally, no Italians asked for this. Italians are like, more cultural stereotypes, please.
This actually helped me because for the first time I watched, I thought I'd be going out of the street and every fucking Italian was going to be saying "Stugazza," and then they don't, and then it took me by surprise.
Yeah, and they're all like calling sauce gravy.
I thought they were going to be calling sauce gravy. I was hanging out with an Italian, and I'm like, "You're not even going to mention cement shoes?"
Yeah. Hey, so when do we make the sauce? Do we cut the garlic with razor blades?
I remember Joe at the corner. He's Italian, and he said he's going to make me an offer to do my show, and I go, and I can't refuse. What type of offer?
Ooh.
One that I can't refuse. He goes, we don't say that. I go, I've seen your films. I'm not a fucking idiot.
I've seen the movies.
What do we do to rats here? I thought he was going to be telling me all the things he does.
Italians
to rats.
are literally like, besides, maybe I'm sure there's a few.
Now, is this your wife or your guma?
Your guma.
That's what I said to him when he brings his wife. I go, no. Hi, this is Stacy. Now, is this your wife or the guma?
The guma, yeah. I mean, they're maybe the least offended people that I've ever met, the Italians.
No, Italians do get Dude, have you ever heard, like, the Cuomos talk? I guess their dad was a big, like, Italian union guy politician.
Yeah.
And a big part of their upbringing, and it's, like, ingrained in their brain, that, like, Italians are very discriminated against.
Yeah, well, they used to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, but I think some people still have that in them.
Sure.
Like, so Irish people still have that, too. Like, some of them, right?
Yeah.
So I think they still have, like, the world's out to get the Italians,
Yeah, but they still love their stereotypes and stuff. I mean, dude, you go to
maybe not that they're all criminals.
I have like, obviously the criminal part, but I mean, the mafia is like done.
Obviously
now they're on the waste.
stupid.
Now they're on the waste disposal. They run the waste disposal. They want to argue with that? It's a very honorable, above the board profession.
Hey, my name's...
Everyone has waste, and you got to get rid of it somehow.
It is very honorable.
Yeah.
No funny business going on there.
No funny business.
Nothing to see here. So, my name's Vinny. You go, is that Big Vinny or Little Vinny? Stugats.
Yeah.
Now, are you a maid man? Or
Yeah.
What? Just the guy working at the store? I feel like there's been a lot of drama surrounding people we know, but the Nick Rekieta thing. So we went and did Dick Masterson's. He does this big like kind of festival once a year, and me and Danny went there kind of when we moved to New York. Like
it was 2020. It was like in the heart of COVID, and then they were like, "We have found a theater where we can. That's not closed."
Yeah, we all got COVID.
Yeah, everybody got COVID.
But basically, we stayed at the same place as him for a week or like a weekend, so we kind of know him fairly well, and from the internet stuff, I guess, not like amazingly well, but basically, he's like this YouTuber, and he does law stuff,
LawTube,
and they have a pretty good business model because they just watch law cases and like comment on them and stream it.
Yep.
And there's all these
and
LawTube
he blew up
people
from the Amber Heard
crushing
thing.
it. Yeah, I remember it's kind of interesting. They just kind of like watch the cases because they just play cases and you just watch them and comment on them from your law expertise or whatever, right? And I guess he's sort of like a political.
And you find these cases that people are just like super interested in and probably want, like, they don't want to hear the fucking CNN's law expert guy. You're like, I'd like to hear someone else talk about this.
But I think a lot of what happens to streamers is when they start streaming 8 hours a day, you start getting into the sauce. You know?
Well, also your like audience is like $5 super chat, have a shot kind of thing. That's a lot of like the audience is like drink. They want you to drink.
That's a big part of it too. But how many radio guys do we know that a lot of people will be like, I said says the wildest shit, and you're like, he's blasted.
Yeah, all the time.
Like, there's some people that just are like on the wildest rants, and you're like, yeah, because they're drunk as fuck. Because, and to be honest, I get it. After like 4 or 5 hours of streaming, you're like, I need my second wind here.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get why people do it. They get into that stuff when you're streaming that much. But anyways, he has all these videos, and there's, he's controversial, I guess. So he has a lot of haters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then basically, allegedly, it was a priest, but
now it's changed. Now I think it's just some hater.
someone went to the cops and was like, this guy's a fucking mess. He's drunk and on drugs, and we think his kids are in danger. The Child Protective Services go. He doesn't want to let him in.
Well, the cops watched his live stream.
They watched his
that's
what I'm saying. They watched
where
the
they
live
referenced like
streams.
this 4-hour live stream, and then they're like, he left for.
That's what happened to Alex Jones, kind of too.
They're like he left for some period of time. He came back. It's like it appears like he was under the influence of like cocaine, essentially. Like the way, like essentially they're like, I'm some guy who's like an expert, and goes. It appears like
he might be, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're just like a normal guy, like there's probably many people that are parents that do some coke every now and then.
I guess they don't do it on live streams. That's the problem.
Well, I guess you call
That's
that
the problem.
evidence.
Is they took a complaint and then they went and looked at the live stream and they go, this is probably like enough to go knock on his door or knock down his door.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess. And then what happened was they knocked down his door, and then they found like casings from like bullets you're not supposed to have, and then some drugs and shit like that. And then they're like, when you have bullet casings and drugs
And a gun.
well, now it's like you're running a criminal organization.
Well, they basically I don't know what the term is, but essentially they like on their own, like the guns on their own are fine. You introduce an ounce of coke, and then now it becomes like all these charges.
Yeah, so this guy's just like drinking and partying on his live streams, and next thing you know, they're taking his kids away, and he might be going to jail for 20 years. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, hopefully it's he gets the seizure or search not like kicked out.
Oh, it might be some shit like that where they couldn't have done it. It was a legal search and
illegal
seizure.
search, and then that's just the end of it. Hopefully.
Oh, that was nuts.
That's the hope.
By the way, if anyone's looking for a job, Joe Biden's campaign's hiring a meme manager to boost online presence.
Yeah, if you're good at making dark Brandon memes. Do you know how to make cool dark Brandon memes for his fucking 70-plus-year-old audience?
I think you're gonna have to do like your brain on Trump, your brain on Biden.
Yeah,
Chad.
for sure. Yeah, the Chad.
They're gonna try to make Biden Chad memes.
the big dog and the little dog ones.
Yeah, exactly. Economy on Biden, economy on Trump.
Yeah.
And then the Trump economy. I get obviously they're doing this, but it is funny. Like that is how, because Trump's memes are basically like shooting a golf ball into fucking Hillary Clinton's head,
Or
right?
Biden, because Biden falls up the stairs all
He
the
shoots.
time too.
His memes are predominantly shooting golf balls at people.
Yep.
But I think it's hard. You can hire the meme managers, but I think you really need. It's kind of like you hire people to make your clips for your podcast, but the people who really pop off, it's like they're streaming and everyone's making clips for their show and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, the main Trump meme guy is, I believe, in jail currently.
Oh, so they need a ringer too. But there's so many people doing Trump memes.
Don't do those memes where text to vote memes, otherwise you'll go to jail.
Dude, being
Unless
like if you find out that a person is like one of their hobbies is just like making Biden sick memes.
Biden's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's making those.
Orange, you glad I didn't have a second term?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Biden memes aren't fun to make, whereas
Not fun.
Trump memes are fun, so they happen organically, and then the best ones probably pop off. Whereas, like, for Biden memes, Biden's probably like, where are the memes?
Well,
nobody makes them, sir.
Also, the biggest part that they're probably not realizing about the meme thing is part of what makes memes fun is you're not really supposed to be doing them.
Yeah.
So every time that the Trump memes were getting covered as like, look at these like racist memes, like this.
Can you believe how tasteless this is?
Yeah, can you believe this? You're just like, like no one's really covering the Biden memes that same way, so it's not. There's no naughtiness to it.
No,
which like the meme world needs a little bit of like you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, like you can go to jail for Trump memes.
Right, whereas making like if you're making Biden sick memes, you're gonna get applauded, and it's like it's not really the meme culture.
Let's see if I can see what the best Biden.
Okay, what's the best Biden memes?
This is from
like if you just type in Biden's the goat memes. What do Biden and a goat have in common? They're both goats.
I think they're all anti-Biden.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No one wants to do that stuff.
Here's one. It's him with his aviators. It says, just been biding my time until 2020.
So this is more like the Trump I want to be your Valentine card.
Kind of.
It's a little less
they're not
pointed. It's more using him to make a different point. It's not really how great he is.
Yeah, I don't think they're generally making fun of him.
I think the Biden meme people are probably just making Trump criminal memes, but it's like, I don't really know where exactly, like, I guess there's some boomer CNN communities where that shit would pop off.
Yeah, here's one of him holding out a crack pipe.
Trump holds a crack pipe?
Biden holding a crack pipe. I don't think they're...
That's not made by his people.
Yeah, they're not. This is just a Facebook group.
So he's trying to combat that.
Well, he has a problem. Yeah, all the good Biden memes are against him.
How about Biden with a big throbbing cock and then you have Trump with a small cock?
It's a good one. I don't know if that'll get a lot of retweets.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I think that might be the problem there, is a lot of normal people are not going to want to retweet.
I'm not applying for the job here. I think my orange, you glad I don't have a second term is the best I can come up with.
Yeah.
I gotta take a break here to try to get the fellas in shape. If you're not using the Fitbod app, you're doing it wrong. Me and Danny both been Fitbod guys. Yes, whether you're a seasoned gym goer or you're just starting your fitness journey, the essential to your workout is really Fitbod. It is a fitness app that customizes each workout based on your goals and adapts them as you improve. You just type in what you got at the gym, and if you're traveling, it'll tell you you might be in different places that don't have the greatest gym. You might have a home gym, and then you have your other gym. It will keep track of all your workouts. It'll give you the best stuff to do. It keeps it interesting, stuff you wouldn't even think of doing before.
Body weight exercises. You could do a whole just straight body weight exercise.
And you know what? You see a lot of people out here with the notepads and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You already have your phone.
Yeah.
So it's
the
all
notepads
right
are for
there.
the birds.
Notepads are for the birds, and then you lose the notepad. You know what I mean?
You definitely lose
So
it.
you
Or you sweat all over it, and then you go, what did I even write here?
forget it. Yes. So the Fitbod's the way to go. Keeps track of everything. Keeps your workouts interesting.
You know, I use it all the time, and it's great. It's just like it gives you different exercises you wouldn't think to do. A recent one that has been my new favorite exercise, incline dumbbell curls, where you're on an incline bench and you let your arms hang. They're like literally target the biceps. Best exercise. And again, sometimes you don't think to do them. Sometimes you just do,
I'd never think to do that.
You grab a barbell and you're just sitting in front of the mirror and you're using all your
or just
body
looking
weight.
at other people, being like, I'll do what that guy's doing.
And you're like kind of, but you're
like a peeping Tom.
You know, but you're like swinging your arms and it's not really like hitting the muscle as good because you're kind of like helping it a little bit. And then, so it just gives you these little exercises that you just, again, won't think to do. And it just like hits the muscle so good.
So you can create a personalized workout routine, adapts to your growth, tracks your muscle recovery, fine-tuned by experienced certified personal trainers. You can learn new movements the right way with over 1,000 demonstration videos. It's like a personal trainer, but better. So if you want to add Fitbod to your workout essentials, join Fitbod today. Get your personalized workout plan. Get 25% off your subscription, or you can just try the app free at fitbod.me/boyscast. That is fitbod.me/boyscast. It's time to tell the fellas again about Factor meals. Now, actually, me and Danny were just having a big conversation about Factor meals because they were sort of saying there was a big conversation where people were trying to say that it was more expensive to do, to go
to the grocery. Yeah,
they were saying it's more expensive to go to the grocery store than it is
shop and all that stuff. And
yeah, and these people are not thinking of Factor meals.
No, they're not.
Problem solved and your time constraint solved.
Oh, that's the best
So a
part.
lot of people
No
were
more
trying to say,
dishes.
yeah, I take all this time and it would take me. I was like, well, not with Factor meals.
Nope.
This is a good deal. And on top of that, this takes very, very little time, which you have more time for yourself to do whatever you want this summer. Sunnier days are calling. Fuel them up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals this summer. If you want, you can get Protein Plus. You get all the different ones depending on what your specific eating regime is right now.
Exactly.
Make today. That's another thing. People say, oh, you can't eat healthy. You can with Factor. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. You just log in and you can change your order for the next week. You can pick things or you can have them pick it for you. Crush your wellness goals this May with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences. Help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or if you simply just want to eat well balanced. Whatever you want, Factor's got you covered. So to make your life easier, cut the time out of your meals. Don't worry about it. Head over to factormeals.com/boyscast50. Use the code boyscast50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code boyscast50 at factormeals.com/boyscast50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Well, I did notice, as much as I kind of said a lot of stuff where it was, a little wild in the last week or whatever, I've also noticed a lot of backtracking on all the recent stuff.
Yeah.
So just like recently, it feels like, we're talking about all these kids that, like let's say got fired for white or blackface. Like all those guys are getting like these big payouts.
Sure.
California district just had to pay $400K to a teacher who got fired for not following the transgender policies.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty good point because they were just like, you're not following the policies. And he's like, well, you're against my rights. You know what I mean? And my rights and my beliefs.
Sure.
It's like, these are these beliefs. He goes, they're my beliefs. And they went to thing and he's like, yeah, he's allowed to think that there's that men are men and girls are
basketball
girls.
players, some athletes tried to do that with the COVID vaccine and it did not work out for them. Like Andrew Wiggins, who is he's from Mississauga actually, but he comes from like one of those like very religious families that like doesn't believe in vaccines, like literally, like they're like, we don't do any of that shit. And then they're like, well, if you want to play in the NBA this year, you got to take the vaccine. And so he was like vaccine or
even on the vaccine stuff, I think there's a lot of people winning their wrongful termination lawsuits.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't even have, I don't know if he can have a lawsuit because they're just like, well, you just can't play in the NBA this year and you'll forego. I mean, Kyrie Irving forego like $40 million.
Okay, well, I'm not saying every single
Like, he
one.
might
I'm just
have a
saying I'm
claim.
seeing more of them.
Yeah,
I'm saying 3 years ago you didn't see none of this. Now you're seeing a lot of sort of things swinging the other way or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it takes some time to adjudicate these things, but it's good.
You know what it means when they said, do you swing to the left or the right? Catholic or Protestant?
Oh.
I don't know if that's the exact terminology. It might be like you step with the left foot or the right foot.
Whatever.
Something like that. That used to be the big thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, a Southern California school district reached an agreement, and he refused to adhere to the district's gender identity policies. Settlement amounts to $400K, and he basically protecting the constitutional and religious liberty for court. So it's starting to hold up in court where you go, well, this is my religion that I don't think women have penises.
Yeah, I just don't agree with this. So again, you just, once the religious thing, you go, hey, do we not respect everyone's religions? Do we or do we not respect everyone's religions?
Right, you can't respect both. So the pretzel is starting to unfold, and I'm obviously the pretzel has been unfolding, but I'm saying it's unfolding legally lately, and it does seem
Good.
like. Well, definitely. What do
Fucking
you think my
America.
point is? That like,
Yeah.
can you believe this?
Can you believe these turkeys? Found some good Joe Biden memes, by the way.
Okay, what do we
This
got?
is from the Wrap. 21 Joe Biden memes that won the internet and our
I
hearts.
didn't win anyone's hearts.
And our hearts.
Put it where I could see it.
And our hearts. Here's a good one. Obama didn't think he'd be late. Biden, I gave him the wrong address. Obama, Joe, he's the president-elect. Biden, I don't give a fuck what they call him.
What's that even about?
I think it was about the inauguration. They didn't tell him where the inauguration was going to be, so Trump couldn't become president because they didn't give him the address.
Oh my God.
He's won their hearts. Obama, Joe, why are you still holding my hand? Biden, I want to freak Mike Pence out. Obama, but why? Biden, just roll with it.
Oh my God.
It's not winning
Because
your
he's
heart.
so homophobic.
He's so homophobic.
They're all the same format.
Yeah, they're all
too.
the same format. They're all just really Joe. Okay, so we sneak in.
Someone's
one night.
making fucking $300,000 a year to do these, by the way.
Well, what's Biden paying right now? Okay, here's one. Joe. Okay, so we sneak in one night around February, steal his.
All
shoes.
of the memes are just him and Obama.
And he goes, Obama, Joe, and then dump Legos all over the floor.
Won our hearts, didn't it?
Because here's the thing. Because then Donald Trump's not gonna have shoes, and then he's gonna be stepping on Legos. You ever step on Legos?
You don't want that.
Pretty uncomfortable.
You fucking take
Pretty
that.
uncomfortable. Here's one. Biden, you know he needs an official government phone, right? I'm gonna give him a Note 7. Obama, but Joe, don't those. Biden, exactly.
What's a Note 7?
I think the Note 7s were catching on fire. Remember those Samsung Note 7s? Remember they were just catching on fire?
So it's mostly the thing is he's talking to Obama being like, this is the shit I'm
Here's a
going to
good
do to
one.
Trump.
Biden, he can have the dang plane, but I'm taking this jacket. And then he's just wearing like a cool bomb, like Air Force One.
Whoever wrote this article saying that
These are the
won
21 best memes. The Joe Biden.
this
Here's a world star one.
is something else.
Biden, I'm not giving them the Wi-Fi password. Obama, Joe, Biden. I said what I said.
This is more him
That's,
being.
you know what? This is why they need the meme guy.
This is why they need the meme guy.
Obama. So whose funeral is this again? Joe. America. Obama. Joe.
Joe. I think he's saying Joe. I think he's saying Joe.
Joe. Obama. We should.
Is there any memes that they make with Biden that aren't Obama and?
No, they're all Obama, Joe Biden memes.
Oh fucking! I don't know if that won the internet or anyone's hearts.
No.
Well, Harvard said they'll no longer take positions on matters outside the university, so that's
good.
But Israel-Palestine broke them.
Yep.
Till they go, you know what? We're just not commenting on anything anymore. Our lips are sealed.
Yeah. Well,
You can't do that after 12 years of commenting on everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and nobody was asking them to sell their shares of the S&P 500, and they're like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's them being like, we're not commenting on this one, and they commented on every other one because the first time they have what they consider to be the wrong stance is like someone being like, hey, who were you with last night? And they go, you go, were you with Bill? You go, no, I wasn't with Bill. Were you with Tom? No, I wasn't with Tom. Were you with Stacy? I don't want to talk about it. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, we're not talking about who we've been with.
Yeah. You know what? I made a policy that
I made a policy. Yeah.
It's literally what they're doing. Someone guessed it. They're wrong for they're on the money for the first time, and they go, you know what? I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I made a policy. I don't give people money anymore.
Hey, well, I'm not sending my kids to Harvard. Or I'm not going myself. I won't take an honorary.
I mean, obviously,
if they want to give me an honorary doctorate.
Really, eh?
No, thank you.
Do they give dick sucking honorary doctorates? Rinson? That is something else, though. Obviously, that is the move for these places to be like, you're causing yourself so much unnecessary drama for like the administration of this school to be like, we're taking a political stance on every fucking thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when it's supposed to be a place of ideas.
Well, I mean, they were forced into it. Like they were forced into.
No one was forced into it. You didn't have to.
The George Floyd forced a lot of stuff.
Well, I know they were forced, but if they had set it up in the first place, being like, listen, the way that our fucking system works is I'm not allowed to comment on these things.
Sure.
It's in the doctrine. I will get fired if I comment on it.
Yeah, that's good. But then, yeah, I agree. If they want to put it in writing, that they just go, hey.
No, they should have done that before. But yeah,
of course. But the problem is like, originally it was like Vietnam, and they're like, well, surely you're not going to have no position on Vietnam War.
I mean,
right? It's the one time where people are like, yeah, we don't agree with your stance.
No, it's us being at a comedy club. This is a better analogy. And then you go, what do you think of this guy's comedy? I go, fucking shit. You go, what do you think of this guy's comedy? You go, it's the fucking best. You go, what do you think of this guy's comedy? You go, I have a policy now that I don't talk about people's comedy. And you go, yeah, that actually would have been the better policy beforehand.
Sure.
But now you can't switch up.
I mean, just let them fucking.
Well, I know they can do it, and they will.
Let them have this little plot of land on your thing. I don't know. Who cares?
You're saying they're in camp and they live there now.
Let them have their encampments for a bit. Who gives a shit?
I guess it's summer, but I mean, I guess you could say that about anything, but like when they take over a park, people are like, well, I do care because I want to use that park.
Well, then use a fucking different park. There's parts of my park near my house I want to use, and then there's people doing heroin in them, so I go find a different part of the park.
Well, I think you would
admit. There's needles everywhere, and I go, I'm not going to use this part of the park. That they needle people.
This is a beaten down man right now, being like, I'll just stand in my little corner.
I'll stand in my corner.
Well, I think the idea is people are just like, well, I mean, you know what my policy is for what's over the top or not?
Yeah.
This is what I always think is a good way to judge what's rude. And like on a plane, for example, I always say it's rude if everyone did what you're doing. The place would be a mayhem.
Of course, like if everybody was talking on like having
if someone's having a conversation. So if all three of us were having a speakerphone conversation, that'd be insane. If everyone on the subway was playing music loud or watching videos with full volume on, it would be insane.
Yep.
So you go, okay, well, if every group decided to take over the part, it would be a war zone now.
Yeah.
So why do you get to do it? The thing is, what you have to have as a society is the common decency to be like, you know what? If we did this place would fall apart. Now,
right.
They
want it to fall apart.
I give a pass to people that are teenagers.
Sure.
You go, yeah, they're sort of doing stuff that you go, well, if you're in your 30s or if you're 25 or whatever, you can't be like, well, why are they allowed to, skateboard there or do this? And you're just like, well, because they don't really follow the rules because they're kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different. They have
So
more
that's why I give them a
free
little
time
difference for being young. You get a
Sure.
little bit of
That's
extra
fair.
pass, you
That's
know?
fair, yeah.
Like, you know, if you're on the subway and you're playing your phone, you're just like, if we all did this, it'd be mayhem. I'll take it from a 17-year-old. I will not take it from a 35-year-old.
Very rarely a 17-year-old doing that. It's always a 35-year-old.
Playing their music on their phone?
Oh, I find that. Oh, whenever it's someone like watching a loud video or something, it's always an older girl. Not like old. But
No, the high school kids come on and they,
Oh, really?
they're pretty, they're dancing on the thing. You almost get
Yeah,
hit
well,
by them.
they're dancing. Yeah, they're doing the showtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's annoying. They almost like kick you too. It's so crazy. You're like they
You
don't-
get kicked in the
you're-
head.
You're like if you don't get out of the way, you're like you might just get kicked in the head. Like you have to actually move for them.
Right. Now, if that guy's 35, you're like, buddy, what are you fucking
The thing
doing?
I hate the most about them too is they start dancing and then there's some fucking Dutch tourist who's like,
You're encouraging
you're
them,
like,
you piece
no,
of
get the
shit.
fuck out of here with that.
Beat it.
You put your headphones in, no eye contact.
So anyways, that's my kind of how I think about this in camp and stuff. So
Yeah.
when you're saying like, well, who cares? I mean, you could who cares yourself on your way to like the thing's a fucking shit show everywhere.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
But I think that probably is the policy they should have always had, being like, we're not going to
Well,
our administration as a whole is not going to weigh in on every
I
social
assure you,
issue.
they are really hoping this war wraps up by the time fucking Frosh Week starts.
Fuck yeah, they're hoping.
They're like, please.
There'll probably
just
be a new
done
one
by-
though.
Well, but one that the
Not like
students
this.
care about. They weren't protesting about Russia, Ukraine. They had no position on that. It was just this one. So
Not sure they really care about this one.
yeah.
Pope Francis also has backtracked on some of his body
Saying
man
some fucking
stuff.
spicy shit, dude. Damn, Pope
There's two
Francis.
things. So he backtracked on blessing same-sex couples because they basically said he was like going to bless two gays, and then he was like, no. What I said is if two gay guys come in here, I have no problem blessing one gay guy and blessing the second gay guy. I'm not blessing the union.
No. Yeah, not blessing the union, but I'll bless you as people, but definitely none of this gay
He
shit.
goes, nothing against you, nothing against you. I'm not blessing this whole thing you got going on, though.
Hell nah, dog. Pause. I ain't blessing this. Pause.
He goes, I bless you, no homo, and I bless you, no homo. What you guys do in your own personal bedroom, obviously you're not blessing that. Fuck no.
Did you see the leak thing that someone
And that's the second part. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the second part, do you know the phrase that he said?
In Italian or the English translation?
I know the English translation.
Well, I don't know what it is in Italian.
So
but
this is the first one. Because people have been hitting him.
I don't know if we can say it on YouTube.
Well, can't we say it because it's Italian? So he says this anti-gay slur, and the slur is, hold on, I'll try to find it. It's a funny fucking Italian slang. So behind closed doors, he's like letting it fly right now.
It sounds like a type of filled pasta.
It's like foglioscio.
It sounds like fagottini.
Is that what it is? Fagottini?
No, fagottini is a type of
What was the
filled
term?
pasta.
Frogaghini.
Frogaghini. I like fagottini better.
That's so fucking funny. The Pope's calling him Frogaghini. Frascini.
These are this two, yeah.
He's a bit of a Frascini.
I don't know why they wouldn't just call them the fagottini.
Fagottini's better.
Well, it's an actual thing. It's an actual type of pasta.
Yeah. So the Francis has basically been going on his tour, like washing gay feet, doing all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, and then-
washing the trans feet, and then now he's basically saying like, "Listen, I washed his, but it's not. I was less inclined to wash the gay shit." And then now he's basically calling them frascinis
Frascinis.
when he's in just with the boys and the popes.
That's what the boys talking about. But I think he was talking about the actual like clergy and stuff.
But there was a rat inside the room.
I know that's pretty crazy to rat out the Pope.
I didn't even think of that.
Considering
that
like,
he ratted out the
talks,
Pope.
he like talks to God. So you're like
You have to really not believe to be ratting out the Pope.
ratting out the Pope. That's a sin. For
Because
sure.
that's coming from God calling them fragilinis.
Yeah, God's calling them the fagotinis. Better not get a fucking demonetized for this. YouTube. It's a type of pasta.
Yeah. And then there was another thing. Guardian just released this big article. This is my favorite one, but Guardian basically released an article recently being like, there seems to be a lot of internet backlash for people when you voice your opinions online.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Guardian, by the way, is the publication that said that they need to tear down buildings because they look like dicks instead of pussies.
Sure. Sure. I don't think a pussy building would have a super great structure. I don't think it's just like, I think they'd fall over more. I think that's the problem.
Oh, I mean, not what you want.
No.
Okay, but what were you telling me was happening with the baseball league? So moving on from that.
So baseball, and this is related to the George Floyd thing that I said, where all this stuff changed, like when they canceled cops and all these just like random things and just related around George Floyd. But Major League Baseball, as of today being May 29th, Wednesday, have now included all the Negro League stats, because there was the Negro Leagues where basically they weren't allowed to play.
It sounds weird saying it even though you're supposed to say it.
Hey, man. NAACP
It is sort of like a trap. They're making this a big news story, which makes you have to say it a bunch.
The C in NAACP is colored, so that's just what it is, right? But anyways, the Negro League, which they were not allowed to play in the major leagues until 1947 or 48. That was the first time. And they had some like some of the best like players or whatever, like allegedly. I don't know. They had really good players in
I mean, obviously they had good players. If it was the best black guys.
Yeah, exactly. So they had but
there probably
Josh Gibson, who is now officially the greatest baseball player of all time, because they combined the stats. They didn't do like an asterisk or anything. They're just like, we're just combining them all together. So now if you go look at the greatest hitter of all time, like highest batting average, yesterday highest batting average of all time was Ty Cobb. Now today it's Josh Gibson. Because he had a higher career batting average.
Didn't you say someone's went down?
Willie Mays' batting average went down because he played 10 games, I think.
And he wasn't that good there.
He was probably really young and he played 10 games. And so that batting average was lower than his career average. So his average
It's kind of weird because different leagues, you'd almost want to, one thing you'd want to take into consideration, I think that if you were going to do something like that, if you're going to combine two leagues for starters, you'd want to take into consideration if the scores are way higher in the other one.
Well, here's a big thing, okay? Because they only played like 40 game seasons in the Negro League.
They played less games.
Okay, Josh Gibson who is now has the best batting average of all time. At I believe it's batting average of 373 career batting average. Ty Cobb has a career 366 batting average, which was before yesterday. Or as of yesterday, he was the best of all time. Josh Gibson only had 2,168 at-bats, okay? Ty Cobb had 11,440 at-bats. So almost, like, basically 5 times as many.
Is there a minimum at-bats you need to be included? Because
there is a minimum. Yeah, there is a minimum. But the thing is you're like, the more at-bats you take, the lower your batting average is going to be, not higher. It's going to always be lower. Like everybody who watches baseball knows that even like when we were kids, John Olerud for a period on the Blue Jays, he was, because 400 is like the crazy, like nobody's, I think Ted Williams had a single season batting average over 400, 406. But besides that, like, if you're over 300, you're elite.
I guess it does make it confusing a bit because people are going to go, oh, this is the best guy. And you go, it was in the other league. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it was in the other league. He wasn't playing against, like, nobody considered the pitching to be, they had a top pitcher, but it wasn't the top pitching, right? And then they played way less games. So there's like way less wear and tear on your body. But like that sample size, 11,440 to bat 367 or 366 is way more impressive than batting 373 and 2,100.
Well, they're both dead anyway, I guess, right?
What's that? Yeah, they're both long dead. I mean, again, it doesn't really affect anything. And then a lot of
ceremonial,
a lot of players like Barry Bonds, like his OPS, he was like number 1, and he just dropped to 4 or 5 even. And there's like I believe Negro League players took that spot. But you're like
taking the white players down.
But he was on fucking.
No, that's serious, Timmy. So sorry.
So but he was on steroids, right? So then people are like, well, if they have an asterisk for this, then Barry Bonds. And Barry Bonds does kind of have an asterisk for his stats because he was just juiced up during the steroid era of baseball. But yeah, like John Olerud batted 400 or close to 400 into August. And you see that from time to time where some guy's batting, but the more games he plays, that always drops.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because it's just like baseball, hitting a baseball is like the hardest single athletic like sports thing to do by far. Like baseball is so fucking hard to just hit a ball. It's insane, which is why the best players hit 300, right? Like
balls at that speed, yeah.
I'm saying in the majors, it's like, yeah, you hit 300's amazing because it's just such a difficult thing to do. So anyways, some people are all getting but it was because of George Floyd. Like there was never really.
They've been trying to make this happen for a while.
I don't think they really were, other than like, maybe like discussing it, but they had bad record keeping in the Negro leagues and stuff. And they're like, there were 7 different leagues and some of them like wouldn't play for a year. And like, it was just, anyways, but no question, Josh Gibson, everybody he's in the Hall of Fame. Everyone considers him one of the best baseball players ever, but you're like, and again, he probably would have had 10,000 at bats had he been allowed to play in the majors. But I doubt he would have had a 370.
So you're saying regardless of any racial stuff, you are comparing apples to oranges a bit.
It's just not a great comparison. It's like kind of comparing like the Japanese league or something, Like, again, a lot of like Ichiro Suzuki, who is one of the greatest hitters of all time. They say he's combined, because he was a rookie when he was like 26. So it was like his combined hits between Japan and America give him more hits than Pete Rose. But you're not the hit leader, because Pete Rose got all of his hits in the majors, and we just don't see the Japanese league as quite as good as the majors. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. Like, it is pretty good. Like, constantly, players come over and dominate. Shohei Ohtani, like, dominate the major leagues, but
not going to be as
a total.
High. Yeah,
like the worst player in Japan is not as good as the worst player in the majors, but not even close. Or not close, but like just not. It's different.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway, some people are, and the thing is, baseball fans are like stat like psychos, right?
That's the thing.
Like, the whole thing's about all these stats, and like they're so in the
someone that
weeds
knew
and
all the stats. You're just juking their brain right now, eh? Imagine you just like the guy that memorized every fucking one of these.
Oh man, yeah, they don't like that. Like the purists, and baseball is a very purist. Like, you're like, we still play with wood bats. Like, all the equipment's the same. The dimensions of the parks are the same. The ball is more or less the same. Like, so baseball has always been like but in baseball's defense, also since the pandemic, they went and changed fucking 25 rules. Like, the game is way different than it was pre-pandemic. Like, there's so many. They made the bases bigger. There's a pitch clock now. Like, all these things. There's no DH in the national, or there's no DH there is a DH in the National League. So they just went, and forever they were like, we can't change anything about this. And then COVID came around, and they made some COVID changes, and they're like, we're keeping them all. Yeah, like the extra innings now starts with a runner on second base. Just starts that way. So there's no like I've been to an 18-inning game before. It sucks.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't
want to do that.
I went to a Jays Tigers game. I've been to 2 18-inning games. I went to a Jays Tiger game once where it was like 18, and they stopped serving alcohol after the 7th. They stopped serving food after the 9th. So then you're just like sitting around, and you can like go get some water at the fountain, and you're so invested because you're like, fuck, I can't leave at this point. It's the 11th inning. I've been here. And then you end up spending fucking 7 hours at the ballpark. And
I did that once at a hockey game when I was
hockey's exciting though.
Not in period fucking 7.
Oh, I would love that. If I was like a playoff game and it was triple overtime, or
I was like fucking 11 years old, and it was like fucking 3 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, we watched last year. We were at that bar in the Carolina, Florida. Went to like 4 overtimes. It was sick, but I'd love to be at that game. But baseball, not.
Well, the other thing is the last one of those is the in Germany. Basically, they're the climate activists. They're saying that they're a criminal organization. They're trying to RICO them.
Good. Put them in a cell with a man named Rico, if you know what I mean. Sorry, Italians.
I guess it depends on if you are meeting up with the direct purpose of doing crime. I guess
sure. If you're throwing mashed
really
potatoes,
like what else do they do other than meet up to like plan their crimes?
I don't know. Maybe save the earth from you, Ryan.
And I guess the crimes are terrorism. So you're like, you basically are just meeting up to plan terrorism. Yeah. Like, how are you different? How is that different than what if you were going to say like a white supremacist group, right?
Sure. Well, they go, they're bad and we're good.
That's the difference. But you go, not in the eyes of the law, I guess. And maybe
when you start
public
destroying
opinion.
Property.
Well, then what else do they do? Sell T-shirts, maybe.
Also, nobody.
KKK probably doesn't sell as much merch.
No. Also, you can just go to any like Walmart and just get their, just buy a set of sheets. But they don't. Again, nobody.
They're saying all their protests were open, accountable, and nonviolent. But isn't that like not true? Don't they like block streets and glue themselves to stuff?
I don't know if that counts as violence, but they destroy property. They're like throwing soup at paintings and they do all that shit. And you're like, but you're not changing anyone's minds. If anything, people who are on the fence are like.
Well, the question is it a criminal organization, though, in your opinion? Probably not really, but like.
Greenpeace.
You're saying it's only violent crime. That,
well, Greenpeace used to.
Well,
be
if you're a criminal
famous for
organization,
blowing up shit. Remember, like Greenpeace used to be like actually.
They must have been sort of looked at that way.
They were. They're for sure. People like Greenpeace activists were like going to jail and
So
stuff.
it's probably not that crazy of a thing. But the only difference is right now is all the, what you would call the upper class polite society like agrees with the plight of this thing, right?
Sure. But they don't like how they're going about it.
Well, they're not killing people, but they are, I guess,
annoying them.
You're making an okay point because I see it's like if you're just like Upper West Side liberal, like I'll tell you what they are fine with, you tearing down statues.
Yeah, I love it.
The traffic stuff is the craziest though.
Glue in your.
Well, just like. You're cementing your hand and then but destroying the Mona Lisas. I guess it's all destroying property.
Right, it's destroying property, and they go, well.
But again, though, if you go if like you're right, it's just that they agree with it because if you said there was like this white supremacist organization and mainly what they do is deface subway cars. Probably pretty quickly.
They start drawing swastikas all over subway cars. There'll be an end to that.
Or worse, like delaying the subway so it can't operate. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But anyways, it does seem like a bit of a. So Mr. Beast, his new. I've sort of been in defense of Mr. Beast a little bit.
This is a funny one because I read this, and this is a full disclosure. This video and is unrelated to this. Is the only Mr. Beast video I've ever actually watched, and I happened to watch it like 3 months ago, when it came out, and they're like saying he's Jigsaw, and you're like.
So I've usually been in defense of Mr. Beast that the media overreacts, but I'm telling you, there is something with these new videos that it does feel like, because basically what he does is he puts two people in a room together for 100 days.
Yeah, strangers.
They win $500,000 or whatever. But it does feel like there's something off about this guy. And I know this is like a girl criticism, but he does seem to be a bit of like a psychopath in that realm.
Honestly, it's like if you watch any like game shows, it's just very just like a good style game show, basically.
Well, you know why I'm biased too?
Yeah.
Because I now know someone that Mr. Beast said they were going to put them in the video, right? So Mr. Beast said they were going to, they basically do these casting calls for people that have to sit in a circle for a year and a half or whatever the fuck he does now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they do that. And they told this person that they were going to be in this Mr. Beast video. They were in quarantine. They did the interviews. They did the pre-interview. Then they give him a date. Then they cancel work for that week.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Beast just ghosts them completely. And I know this isn't Mr. Beast, this is his team, but it's indicative of how they operate. Because a lot of it is very much like, hey, we're going here to help people, right? And this one was like, we're going to pay off your mortgage. So they go, we're going to help people and do all this stuff. And then this one, basically they said, you're in the runnings of one of these people to get your mortgage paid off. And then they got the thing, you go, here's your date, book it off work. We're going to pay for your accommodations. Then just like didn't respond ever again.
Yeah, just totally goes to them.
And this is like from MrBeast.com. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a month or two later, message back being like, hey, we actually are going to do it if you can book off this other time.
Oh, really?
So they're like fucking with these people.
Yeah. They're fucking with their lives.
Yeah. So when you see it, that they're like, oh, we helped these 100 people. It's like, yeah, they took 1,000 people and just like fucked with them.
Dicked them around.
So it's like in the process of helping people, they're very flippant with how much they're screwing up people's lives.
That's a fair criticism.
Which to me comes from someone that usually comes from the center of like, if you're like a helping people organization in this kind of way, you're probably very like, and let's, not like fuck over normal people. Fair. And the fact that they don't have that at all, to me, that maybe pointed my mind a little bit in this direction. But then when you look at it with that lens, he does kind of feel like a little bit of a psycho.
Yeah.
Or he's just like,
but that
he's all just about the algorithms and this and this and blah, blah. And it does feel like he thinks of, it's very like Japanese game show.
No, it is very, it is very,
but it very much like these humans are just little rats for me. Whether it's, I don't even care. Like you can be a fucking bit of a sociopath, but like, I don't buy that he cares or anything like that. I definitely think he thinks of humans as like little rats in his game.
In his game, yeah. I mean, this one, the way this was set up specifically was like, they basically get the $500,000 and it's like, they have to live in this pod. And if they leave, like, I think both of them lose the money. So neither of them can leave. Like,
right.
So there's like a prisoner's dilemma kind of thing that they play with them.
Why is it a prisoner's dilemma?
Well, at the end, because I'll tell you. So they bring in, they'll be like, hey,
you can spoil it for me.
Yeah, I'll spoil it for you. But they're like,
hey, for all the Mr. Beast fans here, there's a spoiler alert.
Sorry for the Beast.
We'll probably put that in the title, Mr. Beast spoiler alert.
But so they would be like, okay, you're locked in this room. There's nothing to do. But you have 500 grand and there's like 500 grand like sitting in a trunk or something. And then he comes in one day and they have to be there for, I think it was 100 days. And then they'll come in one day and go, I know you're bored, so if you guys want, like,
you can suck my dick.
No, it's like you can buy all these board games for 10 grand. You can take $10,000 of the money, but you both have to agree on it, right? So you could be like, you could buy. So one of them was like, you could have a private chef make you all your meals for the next 100 days, but it'll cost you 50 grand or something. So they go, we don't want to spend 50 grand on this. Like, we'll just eat whatever food we have. And they'll be like, here's a TV with like a fucking 5,000 DVDs, and they have nothing to do, no phones.
How much does that cost them?
It was like 10 or 20 grand or something, right? So you go,
I'll do that one.
Right? So they go, you want, and all the time he comes in, he goes, here's a new thing that you can do, like sick beds or something, or like, and the lights were on in this like white room.
Pay money
all
to turn
the
the lights
time.
up.
So it's like something, like the lights, like all these things. And then at the end, whatever money they had left over, their last thing was they both sit on there's like a solid pane, kind of like a solid like wall, and they're both on either side, and they have a button. And so you can choose to steal the money. That was the fuck. So like they've been together for 100 days. And so he's like, okay, like when, the whatever timer goes off, one of you guys can choose to steal the money. So if one of you steals and the other doesn't steal, then you steal. You can obviously both.
If you both try to steal.
If you both.
So he does an actual
I think if you both try to, like actual prisoners dilemma.
That's why it's a prisoner's dilemma.
If you both try to steal, you get nothing. If one of you steals, you get it all.
You're telling me this doesn't feel a little bit like a psychopath?
Yeah, it is kind of like, it is fucking really like taking the worst out of people. But then they didn't, neither of them, because they just knew that neither of them were going to steal, I guess. But that would be so fucked up if you're that person. You've been there with them for 100 days and you hit the steal button on them. Like,
yeah,
mental. But they didn't, and they just split. I don't know how much was left, 300 grand or something.
So the fact that they both didn't steal means one of them should stole.
That's the problem. That's the prison.
You'd have to though. Like even if I did do that, I'd be
You'd
like,
be
I'm
the
just
villain on the internet.
You'd be the villain on the internet.
You couldn't show your face in public.
You'd be the villain on the internet. I think I would feel obliged to give them half the money regardless. Like, you know what I mean?
But then what if you both did it and you're like, okay, neither of us got money, and you're like, it's just so fucked up.
Well, anyways, I do believe that something screws loose on that guy.
Yeah. I mean, but it was compelling. I'll say. Usually, like I'll throw on a Mr. Beast video, and then 2 minutes in, I'm like, I don't really care about this or whatever.
I don't ever throw. You throw on a Mr. Beast video.
They're like in my algorithm all the time, and then I just was like, click this one.
I don't think I've ever thrown on a Mr. Beast video. I see it against my will.
Yeah. But anyways, this was the one I go, oh, this is interesting, and then I actually watched though. It's the only one I've ever watched. But
they are big production. I watched the one where it was the Squid Games. I think.
Yeah, I never watched.
Seen a couple of them where they just sit in the circle or whatever.
Yeah, like I always see them as like a clip of like you got to keep your hand on the fucking car or whatever, last person. But this was like interesting how there was all the elements to it.
So this is the most for the boys of all time. So my husband of 2 weeks went to a bachelor party. They did an activity that I don't even want to say out loud. And basically the reason it's funny is the guy went to the strip club, girl was mad, and then the like answer back is progressive of why the wife's mad, why the wife's wrong.
Finally.
Yeah. So, dear, my husband and I have been married for 1 month. A week ago, he went to a bachelor party for his sister's fiance. He only went for one night. On his way home, we were talking on the phone, and he mentioned they had gone to a strip club. I was so upset when they found out.
At least he told you.
I guess they're like, super religious type of, you know what I mean? We've only been married for 2 weeks, but it broke my heart to think of him as a strip club. I just hate the idea of strip clubs and women being sexual objects. I can't get the vision out of my head. Am I crazy? So she's hitting at him a few different angles. She's like, this is bad because it's gross of you, but also you're degrading to those women. Right. So this is some new age mind voodoo where the therapists have accidentally started working for the dude. She goes, you're not crazy for being upset. The virtues of monogamy even just using these words, we're already starting to get started. Could only be more seated in Western culture if they were pumped directly into the water. It's understandable when even a minor potential breach of these virtues feels upsetting, and it represents a threat to societal foundation. So if you're sitting in the therapy chair right now and she starts going on this speech, you're like, we're listening.
Yeah.
But I think you could only take this moment to learn how to distinguish between ideal and reality. The sacredness which you hold, sex, at least inferring via your letter, is not shared with anyone. These are people who enjoy sex with other people and only sex with the ones they love, you. They don't know for entirely different purposes. Objectification isn't always a bad thing.
No.
You heard that straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, she probably looks like one.
Whoever thought that feminism would get to a point where their main
Pro the boys.
This is like, could you ever think though that you go, what's the main thing feminism about? Well, objectification isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a
for
bad
starters.
thing. So, well, sex work is good. Sex work's real work.
Strip
right?
clubs can be liberating for people.
Oh, yeah.
On the pole. For spectators, they can be a vicarious way of experiencing something like sex without crossing the line. So, just as 100% the girls on board go to a strip club.
Yeah, I don't know about the liberating part for the strippers. I don't know if they're getting liberated.
Now, usually there's,
girl I knew
there's
was
two
just-
types. There's ones that are like, they're ones that are just like kind of trash, and then there's others that are just kind of like badass psychos.
Yeah, the badass psychos. But yeah, I don't know about the liberating part. This girl I knew was a stripper. She was like, I remember she told me she was giving a guy a lap dance, and then he just came on her. She's like, it's not liberating. She's like, it's gross. It's like,
I guess it's liberating if you
treats
get
her like
rich.
yeah, but she's treating it like she's like a fucking garbage man. Like it's just a dirty job, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, no garbage man. It's like, it's such a liberating job. You're like, no, it's gross, but it pays the bills.
It's gross, but it pays the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, I do like that you can find articles when you're fucking in hot water. Listen, you're pitching that to your chick, though. It'd be like, I know that monogamy couldn't be more in your brain if it was put into the water supply. She goes, what the fuck did you just say?
Because look, Prudence says, Prudence has my back here.
On the topic of Germany, though, Germany decriminalizes child pornography and
What?
pedophile activist groups celebrate. So Germany does seem like Australia is probably the most wacky.
That's very wacky.
I know. And especially now that I'm going to Australia, I'm always getting hit with all this stuff. And
Yeah.
it seems like they got real wacko stuff. I just saw this recently. They have a guy in Australia that his job is the men behavioral change committee. Fuck, what is it? I think I took a screenshot.
Man's Behavioral Change Committee?
Yes, listen to this. This is... Okay, so I want to share with you some pretty big news. Premier blah, 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 and this guy looks like the dweeb of the millennium, Jacinta Allen. He's asked me to serve on the Parliamentary Secretary for Men's Behavior Change,
Okay.
a national first. So they have a committee for men's behavior change.
And what, just stop hitting women?
I think they just want you changing your behavior altogether.
Just all together? Just too much misbehaving? Not enough behaving?
They don't want boys being boys.
I don't like that.
Isn't that crazy, though?
Yeah.
The Committee for Behavior Change. And this guy looks like the cuck of the millennium, too. He's just like sitting there looking cucky. Nothing much more to it than that.
All right. Well.
So that's what they got going in Australia, that sort of stuff,
Yeah, it's
man.
just, I'm looking at it right now on their website. They just want,
Can you imagine
they
getting a
just want
knock?
guys to stop
Can you
hitting
imagine getting a
people.
knock on your door from the Men's Behavior Change Committee?
Because I heard you got,
Well,
heard you got in a fight at the pub last night. You go, yeah, we're both friends, and we.
If you want to have a
was a good
Stop
time.
Domestic Abuse Committee, that's fine. But the Men's Behavior Committee changed. I don't like the sounds of that.
Yeah. What about all the lesbians who are bashing the shit out of each
Well,
other?
this is what someone told me, is that they basically in Australia, I think someone from our Patreon sent this to me, that's Australian, and he was basically saying that what happened was the domestic violence thing, they have this, it's like their number one thing right now is they're kind of going on domestic violence, and then all the dudes there found out that you're way more likely to be hit from your lesbian girlfriend than you are from your male boyfriend. So the domestic violence is highest. And every comment and everything is like just dudes trolling, being like, I know we need to stop these ladies. Like, so apparently it kind of became like a thing where everyone like caught on to the fact that like the domestic abuse comes from lesbians the most, and they're going hard on that.
I wonder if lesbians who end up going back to like straight guys or whatever, like if they it was a lesbian relationship, like are they more violent, you think, once they get with a guy? Or or is it only the ones who are like the super like I'm lesbian butch, like,
or you're saying
never
like
back.
Does your girlfriend that went super lesbian come back and then she's trying to give you some rights and lefts?
Yeah, you're just like fucking got the ice pack on your eye.
yeah, because she got into the habit of it.
Yeah, she's just so used to fighting all the time, you know? It's like one of those dogs that like comes from like a dog fighting ring, and you can't even pet them. They're just on edge all the time. All they know is fighting.
That's so funny.
It's a question that we're worth looking into. That's all.
You're saying it's basically a rescue that has some problems.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You rescued her from a life of lesbianism.
Lesbianism, yeah. Exactly.
Well, but if you go the other way, they might be better because you get the girl that she's like, my ex used to beat me black and blue, and you go, you're safe now.
Safe, yeah, right, you're safe now. I won't hit you. But then she's like, well, I might hit you. It's in me. It's in me.
You think these fists have been soaking in ivory? You never really know what the lesbian fights look like. It could be two girls going like that to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
One of these.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they're probably throwing bombs.
Yeah, think
I told
it's
you,
that? The girl got the headlock nuggying.
I actually, because I talked about it, but I have the gay boxing gym by my house, and then I thought about it more, and it's like probably all just lesbians training for home.
I know.
They all just have to train to box because they're in lesbian relationships. So they're all just fucking like, if you don't train, then it's like even worse at home.
Well, that's what happens is when they get married, the priest, after he announces them wife and wife, then he blows the whistle.
He goes, fight!
He goes, all right, I want you two together in holy matrimony forever. Obviously, no headshots. We want to keep it clean.
Nothing below the belt. Keep it clean.
Nothing below the belt.
Herb Dean is the number one lesbian wedding officiant.
Let's get ready to marry. Yeah, that's why they go to the boxing gym.
Yeah.
Well, so there's wacky stuff going on in Australia. So you guys, all the main places, Sydney, Melbourne, I don't know, whatever the main places in Australia are.
Yep.
Big theaters, tickets are selling good. Those shows should be good.
Catch me in Minneapolis this weekend. It's
Catch
Friday
Danny in
now, but
Minneapolis.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, House of Comedy at the Mall of America.
And you can also catch Danny walking around that mall looking for dillies.
Yeah.
What did you and JJ do? You went to
We went to the sauna. No, there was like a sauna store that just sold saunas.
Oh, that's what JJ was telling me for the stress thing because
Yeah, get a sauna.
apparently the heat and cold is really good for stress. That was the one part.
I mean, dude, I was really. We went and fucking had a little rip on Sunday, and then I was.
Me and Danny had a great rip on Sunday.
I was so hungover on Monday though, and then I went to the gym on Monday, and then literally like 10 minutes in, I was like, just like the hangover is gone. It's interesting, the hangover is gone because I guess your endorphins start pumping, but then an hour later, it's like
We had the most classic
Came
scenario
back.
that Danny's girlfriend demanded we don't talk about, but
which one was that?
the restaurant.
Oh, that's.
I know.
It was both of them.
Well, I know, but she was the one who demanded we couldn't talk
no,
about
we can
it.
talk about it. Whatever.
Well, it was like literally out of a fucking textbook. We sat down took us 45 minutes for them to figure out where we're going to dinner.
Yeah,
We finally
wandering
found a
around.
place. We get there. The guy comes out. The main guy who runs the place.
owner loaded. He's just like, "Hey, what's up, boys?" He's like, "Let me send you some cheese balls," and then they're like, "This is frying."
The other chef comes out. He doesn't work here.
yeah, he doesn't work here. This guy's a fucking.
But
scum.
we ordered the drinks, got the thing, and then they both sat there grumping, looking
Yeah,
at the
both
menu.
grumpy. You know, they're like, "Is there anything you like on here?" You're like, "Yeah, we could eat anything on the menu."
They go, what?
Fine.
And they both go, no, whatever, fine. We'll just eat here. And we go, oh, we're not paying a $500 fucking meal if you're not going to like it. And they go, no, it's fine. I'll just have bread, whatever.
Yeah.
And we go, well, then fine. Let's go to a new place. So we,
Yeah, and then we went to a new place, got pizza.
yeah, we,
It's like that's the thing. It's like we went to a new place, got the same shit.
but we literally sat down,
just more expensive.
got cheese balls, got drinks,
Yeah.
and then fucking both of them sitting there grumping at the menu and had to leave,
Yeah,
go to
they're
a
like,
different place.
Literally menu 25 things on it, and they're like, nothing I can
Not
eat
a
on
single
here.
thing.
You know, you guys both eat fish though, and they go, I don't know, I don't like this. I don't like this fish though. You know,
Me and Danny were crushing them though. It was the most classic shit you've ever seen. It was textbook.
yeah. I was just glad it wasn't just mine. I'm glad it was both of them.
It was both.
Yeah.
They were just staring at the menu, grumpy. They go,
Yeah,
no,
they're like,
whatever.
I guess I won't eat then. I'll just have some garçon. Can I get some ice cubes, please? I guess I'll just eat ice. Then.
I'll just fucking most starved to death.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, just fucking, we can leave if you want to
Yeah,
leave. We're
yeah.
not fucking sitting here dropping $300 so you can fucking
Yeah, I can go to
grump.
fucking Arby's right now. Like I don't give a shit.
We're only here because you
Yeah,
wanted to be here.
exactly. And this is why we do this podcast.
It was something else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were like, "Oh, what you're gonna talk about this on the podcast?" You're like, "Yeah, it's the only way to write the shit off.
That's what it was.
It's the only way to write off these meals. We got to talk shit about you on the podcast."
It was something else though.
It wasn't something else. It was something regular.
It was something regular. You're right. But I think regular is something else for them.
I guess. Yeah, like doesn't even shock me anymore.
But we were popping around all the different places in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
going to rooftops. It's fucking
Yeah, sick.
New York is underrated, man. It's one of those things when everyone's always talking about that. I brought it up when we were there, but people are always talking so much shit about New York. When you actually do days and like cook around the city and do all this stuff, you're like, this is the sickest
Every
city.
bad thing about New York is just like something that someone saw happen in Times Square.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Or if you're like
exclusively.
in the hood, there's high
or- yeah,
crime. It's like,
exactly.
I'm not there.
Yeah, agreed.
Went on the boat.
Yeah, went on the boat. And that was another gripe. I go, hey, why don't we take a ferry? It'll be fun. Like, you're out on the boat. It's a nice day. And then they're like, this is just a bus on water. And they're like, oh, we thought this was going to be a boat cruise. You go, we thought we were just going to book a
To be honest, I thought it was going to be a boat
okay. I
cruise
was like, no,
too.
it's just, we'll just hop on the
That was
ferry
me.
and take a fucking ferry around.
I legitimately thought we were taking like a nice ferry ride. It was, I was hanging on to the fucking thing for dear life. It was the subway on water.
It was the bus on water. That's nice, though.
But so the Germany pedophile thing.
Germany's out of hand. I don't know what they're doing.
The Parliament of Germany voted on Thursday to lower criminal penalties for possession of child pornography, downgrading the offense to a felony to misdemeanor. So this is always one of those things where I don't know who's the guy that has the audacity to promote this bill in the first place.
Crazy. I mean, it's liberalism getting out of hand where they're like, how liberal can you be?
Yeah, but they're going like, okay, we're going to talk about immigration. The next guy's like, okay, we're going to talk about trade. The next guy's like, I have an idea as well.
Yeah, the guy in the back. Can we talk about my idea if we get a chance? I have one idea that I really want to give. This bill that I really want to get passed if possible.
I, too, have a proposal. What's the proposal?
All right, let's just...
Okay, what's your proposal? 11. What about 11? PowerPoint presentation, please. Cue my PowerPoint. Actually, let me tell you this, because I was trying to do I was thinking of sketches, and I wanted to do a thing because I've been doing a joke about how the Drake thing, like you could never. You just, when someone calls you a pedophile, you can't ever defend yourself without looking like more of one. You know what I mean? It's like when the guy calls a white guy racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you definitely. I'm not saying you definitely can't write a song about how you'd never own a slave, even if it was a good deal, right? But I was saying that I want to do a thing of Drake's doing a full album, and it's called "Would a Pedophile Do This?" These are the track. This is the track listing. Under 18, no, thank you. If I'm a pedophile, then why don't I have a mustache? If a naked kid was here right now, I'd be like, yuck. Nothing I love more than legal pussy. Illegal, not tender, not fine.
Snow ref.
I lied. I actually don't like high school women's basketball. Gotcha. Technically, if I did it, it would be called a hebephile, but I'm not that either.
Yeah, you definitely never want to be like someone's like a pedophile. You're like, technically 14 is the hemophile. It's not a
It
pedophile.
never-
You go, that never works out.
Well, it's
for
the
me.
guy defending against racism.
Yeah.
But that's the Parliament of Germany. That guy's in there.
Fucking turkeys of the week over there.
I, too, have something that I would like to bring to the attention
And
of
they
the
go,
Parliament.
let me guess, you want to make child pornography legal? We heard it.
They go,
And then someone else comes in and goes, I have also been thinking about this, and I think this is a good idea.
no, they go, Chuck, we already know what you're going to bring up. He goes, no, you don't. And he goes, what is it then? He goes, you want child pornography to be legal? He goes, lucky guess.
It's like literally the only thing you ever want to get
The
past.
only thing you talk about.
Yeah.
The decision by the governing body, known as the Bundestag, is being celebrated by pedosexual activist groups. So the
Pedosexual?
there's activist groups that are about the shit. Many of which are now seizing the momentum to lobby for reducing Germany's age of consent to just 12. So they're shooting for 12, my friend.
12?
12 is tough. And by the way, give them an inch, they take a mile, because they're already now, like, since they've gotten their thing passed, they're already now being like, now that we're on a roll, let's keep going,
let's
right?
keep it going.
Just like all of these things. It's always give them an inch, they take a mile, right? And I don't know why you'd want to give an inch to the pedophile lobby.
No.
That's a funny being in the pockets of the pedophile lobby.
Yeah,
Who's in the pockets of them? Why is this even...
Who's funding them?
Possession and acquisition in the future should be punishable with a minimum penalty of 3 months imprisonment and distribution with a minimum of 6 months imprisonment. So obviously the reason why this is just bad is because, like, that you want to make it so hard to own and distribute because then people will stop making it, which is the real problem.
Yes, and participating in it.
And yeah, exactly, right? But the thing that they tried to say in the bill, they go, the purpose of the bill is to provide considerations for parents and teachers who download child pornography for purposes of alerting the police. The old research.
Yeah.
It's what's his name from that band, The Who.
Yeah.
But it's like, how about just this? It was like, if you're just a normal citizen, you don't get to do child porn research.
Yeah, no child porn. Let's just like alert the authorities that you may be, suspicious.
Stop doing child porn research. And no, a buddy of ours, I think it was Garrett. His buddy was in the police force task for this stuff, and he said, he goes, when someone gets busted for this, it's not that you accidentally caught one. No. It's like, no, we've been watching this guy for 6 months, and he's got fucking terabytes.
Well, remember, I think we did cover it. There was one teacher. I don't know whatever happened with it, but there was like some teacher who was like had it to alert. Like,
yeah, but
then he kept them saved on his phone like indefinitely or whatever, and then they were like, "That's what got it." But you're like, "Why would you?"
Yeah, but think about it like anything else, though. Okay, imagine if you were trying to say there's too much drugs in my neighborhood, and you now bought like a pound of coke to like check out where you could buy it. It's like you don't get to say it's like, "Oh, this was buying coke for research."
Yeah,
it's like what other crime? What other like illegal thing do you get to do that for?
Yeah, what do you think you are, the CIA or some shit? You don't get to do that.
Well, it's like, yes, unfortunately, you don't get it. Your wife comes in, you're like, what are you doing? It's like researching child porn.
Like, sign up
try to stop it. Yeah, go become a cop if you want to. Although that is, unless you have a story like that's personal to you, that's suspicious as well. Right. The guy that joins the police force, and he's like, when can I transfer?
When do I get to be on the CP squad? You go, usually you got to be here for 10 years. You go, 10 years?
10 fucking years.
I was hoping that we could maybe expedite this process so I could be working on there next week. I'll work for free.
Exactly. You don't get to be child porn research Batman. You know what I mean? No. That's the one thing where it's the most suspicious thing in the world. You're like, I hate it so much. That's why I'm looking at it all day long. Guy fucking says he doesn't like eating shit, and you're eating logs to prove how much you don't like it.
Doesn't seem like you don't like it. You go, no, I hate it. Ooh, I hate it. I hate it so much.
I'm just making sure it's still bad. All right. Boys, go over, sign up, patreon.com/theboyscast, $5 a month. Support the Boyscast, support the fellas, and in addition, also support our staff and our studio, and as well our 2 episodes of our TV show Bugman vs. Bugman, which we are now 300 patrons away from doing another episode.
Episode 3 coming soon.
And we appreciate everyone who does support the podcast, and we'll see you next week. Peace.